I am just getting started, and that is because I was live until like 3 a.m. Good morning, Amy. How are you? What's up, Attorney Di? How is everybody? Sweet baby Jesus. Yes, Amy. Yes. All of that. Good morning, folks, over here. If you are watching me anywhere other than TikTok, please make sure that you speak so that I can greet you back. If you are greeting me from Substack, I cannot see your comments. I hate that, but I love that you're here. What's up, Jay Nice? What's up, Toodle? What's up, Red Hot? How are you guys? Morning, MG Brock. Morning, Farah. Cam, it's going very fast now. It's going very, very fast. So, for those of you guys that were with me until almost 3 a.m., welcome back. Um, it has, it's definitely been a lot. I haven't made it to get hardly anything done today. Today's just going to be the day that it will be. And that's okay, right? It's okay. We're just going to what, you missed it? Yeah, Conchita. I went live last night shortly after the president of the United States made these two posts, and I was on until almost 3 this morning. So, hence the fact that I'm a little late this morning going live. It's not my regular time, but yeah. hmm It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah, your alarm goes off at 4:15. Yeah, girl, I was just getting into a sleep. Yeah, Abu Binks. It was a lot. um and Henry joined me, which somebody just mentioned in the comments. And I saw people's comments about Henry for the majority of the cat. I haven't even done them yet, girl. No, I haven't even made it. I haven't made it yet. I haven't made it yet. Nothing has gone the way that I planned, but I am going when I get off this live today. So I'm excited about that. Um, Here's what's interesting is I don't think Henry really knew what to do. Yeah, Cam, I'm going today. As soon as I'm done with this live, 100%. I'm going to let the kids' mama keep them, and I'm going to go get a mani-pedi. That's happening today. Yeah, so here's the thing. So, Philip, one of the reasons why I was really good handling Henry the way that I handled him is because Henry Henry was engaging with me in a specific way, and so I'm going to meet him where he's at, right, and also still hold him accountable, right, and so um, yeah, and so well, that's the thing, Lisa, right? You got to charge this. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, Dr. Emmy, and the self care is lacking right now, 100%. 100%. But we've gotten a lot done, and those types of things, so it's okay. Good morning, everyone. It's going really fast, so I'm not even able to greet everybody. But yeah, so it was a lot. But here's the thing: no, Jamie, I did not, and let me share with you all why I didn't. Okay, so for those of you all who missed it, I was on TikTok last night from I don't even know, like shortly before midnight until 3 a.m. ish. A little bit, Candy. I slept a little bit. I slept a little bit. Um, and 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 I was joined by someone named Henry, and he was on with me for a very long time, and we talked about everything from this post and Christianity and all the things to Iran and then Gaza and West Bank and Israel and all these things. And there were people in the comments absolutely having a fit because they had gone to Henry's page. And apparently, Henry has some very alarming videos with regard to Gaza and Palestine and whatever. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And everybody kept wanting me to ask him. And so here's the thing. Everything is on YouTube, not from last night. Be action. Listen, not from last night. It was a rare, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go live real quick and that's it. And I didn't think that it was gonna turn into everything that it turned out to. Um, Thanks, Carla. And so here's the thing. If you notice, by the time I got to that conversation with Henry, um, he knew that I was holding him accountable for his attitudes, his thoughts, and his posts that I didn't even see. You follow me, you all? So a lot of times when we address people and we engage with them, it doesn't have to be done like a certain way, right? I don't have to cuss anybody out. I don't have to do any of those things in order to hold them accountable. And hey, Red Pen. And so one of the things that I really liked about that conversation with Henry and how it ended, thank you, Tech Lady, um, is that by the end of that, um, right, his demeanor was fine. And I promise you all, what do we always say? Henry will be thinking about that conversation for a long time to come. And I'm good with that. And I hope he actually does go watch 13th. I hope he does come back. I hope he does have more conversations. So, I'm good with that. You know what I mean? I thought it was really, here's one of the reasons, guys, why I give Henry a little bit of space is he was willing to listen, he was willing to even give concessions and admit, good morning, Nance, around the West Bank, right? If he had refused to be able to acknowledge any wrongs whatsoever, that would be different, right? But he wasn't. He could admit some of those wrongs and he could admit some of those things. And so that is really important. Clyde, you're correct. There's no Palestone. Sorry, Clyde was trying to trigger me by typing, there is no Palestine. And I was like, but he mistyped it and said, there is no Palestine. And I said, you're correct. There is no Palestine. Yeah, it is. Yeah, this is blasphemy, Burke. 100%. 100%. Um, sorry, I couldn't resist. It was a little chuckle for me, but I don't even know, Carla. I don't even know. Thank you, Clyde. I am so clever. Yeah, I am. Every now and again, I have a little moment. I mean, Clyde, listen, it is not my responsibility if you can't read a map. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it has nothing to do with me. You do. So listen, I know that some of you all that support the president of the United States and things like that. You did, Sandy. Listen, I know that some of you all that support the president of the United States believe that if you just continue to say a thing that will make it real, that's not the way that life works. That's not um that's not the way that it works. Like you can say the same thing over and over again, but it still is what it is, right? So Clyde, if you keep saying there's no electric bill, there's no electric bill, there's no electric bill, I promise you there is an electric bill and your ass will be sitting in the dark. So like denial is not your friend. And there are people that can help you with that. There are people that can help you with your denial. Um, yes, yes. It is true that the war in Iran is the reason that Ireland is in dire straits. That is correct. Yes. Yeah, there's a lot happening in Ireland, which we'll get to you if we can. Why does it say Clyde was a recent guest? Have I ever had Clyde up before, you guys? Have I ever had Clyde up? It says Clyde was a recent guest. I don't remember Clyde. I don't know that I should be surprised about that. Yeah, everybody's saying I don't remember. It must not have been, it must not have been, yeah, it's not ringing a bell for me either, you guys. And you guys usually do a good job of telling me, of reminding me. So damn. Okay, so here's the thing. So Clyde, um, You're just a watcher on your side. I don't know what that means on my side. I don't really have a side. Um, yeah, I don't really have a side. Yeah, Nick and Vanessa, 100%. Good morning, Penton 10. All right, so yeah, well, but it says on this account, it says on this account that, uh, oh, at Clyde is a different Clyde. Hold on. What in the world? Do we need to? No, this is Clyde Media, folks. This is Clyde Media talking. Wait, okay, wait. Holy Jesus. Hold on. There's two Clydes in the chat. No, but Clyde Media is the one that I'm talking to, and that's who's in the chat, and it says recent guest. But I don't remember Clyde Media ever having been in here. Yeah, not you, Clyde, the other Clyde, Clyde Media. Hey, Adeline, good to see you. Okay, so Clyde Media, listen, um, I don't remember you at all, but here's what I will say to you. Clyde said, let me be quiet. Yes, Nance, we are going to talk about Hungary too. Yes, we are. That they absolutely, I bet you they are celebrating. Okay, so yeah, Clyde said, let me not get mistaken for the other Clyde. Um, who's on first? Okay, so listen, here's what I want. Here's what I'm going to do. So listen, Clyde Media, if you would like to join this panel, I'm happy to bring you up. Here's what I will say to you this morning. Okay, you can very clearly see the guidelines for this space, right? So what are they? One, be respectful, right? Which so far you have not been. So I would remind you, right, that one of the guidelines for being in this space, and especially being on my panel, is to be respectful, to not use slurs of any kind. Good morning, Monica. Thank you. Don't spam the comments over and over again with the same thing. And then number 4, don't type in all caps because that's reserved for moderators. Good morning, Owen. And for my folks that are vision impaired. Good morning, Michael. Okay. Happy morning to you. Good morning, Wendy. So I'm happy to bring you up, Clyde Media, to have a discussion. You've already heard me share with you, what the guidelines are, so please act accordingly, okay? Good morning, Black Queen. Good to see you. Hey, Lynn, good to see you as well. All right. Oh, hold on. Where did he go? Clyde Media, I accepted your request. Where did you go? Good morning, Sharon. Where did Clyde Media go, you guys? I accepted Clyde Media and now they didn't come up. He said, "Bring me up." Um, no, Sue, I can't. He was in the request and then he left. Probably because I went over the guidelines. That tends to clear out the riffraff. But if Clyde Media comes back, he's more than welcome to come on up. So to the person who asked me, can I explain how the Republican Party is okay with this? My answer is going to be no, I can't. And number 2, I don't want to group people all together because there are many Republicans that are not okay with these types of posts, right? There are many Republicans who are not okay with this. So what I would say is that the people that are okay with this, some of them may be Republicans, some of them may just simply be Trump supporters. And what I would say is that I don't want to label them as Republicans because they may or may not be, right? Good morning, Sharon. So we just have to be clear about that. I want to talk about a couple of things, and we can absolutely talk about the Christian religion, and we can absolutely talk about this post and the fact that it is blasphemy by any biblical standard that there is, right? But the thing that I want to talk about, the thing that, if you're still arguing right versus left, yeah, well, I believe I agree with you, which is why I just said what I said. If you weren't a bot, you would have caught that by now. Dear God. But so follow me. But the other thing that I want to talk about that I think is really important is that, there were several posts last night. all through the night that are ridiculously concerning. And they are concerning for several different reasons, right? And I think we have to start to have a conversation about how the president of the United States has become a national security risk to the country. Um, the president of the United States of America is 100%. His behavior is a national security risk. And I think that we have to start having that conversation and be very, very authentic about it, be very direct about it, and all of those things. Okay. And I didn't even look at X. I've only looked at his Truth Social, right? Yay, Marky. We are glad you're back. Everybody was like, where's Marky? Where's Marky? So we're glad you're back. Good morning, Wendy. Good to see you. So, a couple of things that I really want to get to today. Okay. So, we're going to talk about the President of the United States. We're going to talk about this from a religious perspective. We're going to talk about it from a national security perspective. We are going to talk about the Strait of Hormuz this morning. Appreciate that, Wes. We are going to talk about the quote unquote blockade by the Navy this morning, and what that may look like. Any chance we could agree that he is primarily a symptom of underlying disease? I don't know, Thin King. It depends upon what you think an underlying disease is, right? You know, I don't know that I can just agree with that until I know. No, we need to talk about you going to the voting booth in the next election. Oh, we do that as well, Dwayne. Yeah, we do that as well. Quite a lot here. Matter of fact, we have a whole initiative around it. It's called Project for the People. So if you check out my profile, or if you go to Facebook, or if you go to YouTube even, you can watch the webinar about it. So we talk about all of those things, right? But what's important is we have to talk about what's happening currently, because the way that what's happening currently, the way that things are happening currently absolutely has to be talked about in order to make sure that when you go into the voting booth in November, that you vote in a way that is going to be best for the democratic constitutional republic that the United States of America is. We have to do it in a way that makes sure that people are informed, and accurately so, and all of those different things. Okay. So, and for the person who says that I think that this is a big distraction, I think that there are other ways to distract, right? This isn't the only thing that he said last night. This isn't the only thing that he posted last night. There were other things that were absolutely distracting that he posted last night, right? But they are absolutely a symptom of who he is. And it's really important that people do not like blow this over. Oh, like, oh, it's just a distraction. People have to stop excusing and minimizing the very alarming behavior of the President of the United States. Let me say that again. People have to stop excusing, okay, and minimizing the behavior of the President of the United States. The behavior and the things that the President of the United States says has global impact, and it has a direct impact on the security and the position of the United States of America in the world. Good morning, Nancy G. And so it's important for us to do that. Huberto says the Iranian government bullies other Gulf countries. So what the USA should do? Well, Huberto, here's the thing: the Iranian government didn't do anything to the Gulf states that are there until they were bombed by the United States of America and Israel, and then they retaliated in kind by targeting U.S. facilities on those Gulf countries' land, right? And the reason they would do that is because there's a distance, right? And Iran does not have missile capability to reach the United States of America. It's one of the things that gives us safe is our is say it keeps us safe is our geography, the fact that we are so far away, right? And so that's why they're not there. So what they're doing is they are hitting U.S. bases, U.S. facilities in the Gulf, in the Gulf states, in the Gulf countries, right? And so it's just really important that we acknowledge that, and we understand that if you don't want the Gulf, if you don't want Iran to attack the 13 to 17 military bases in the Gulf states, then guess what? Maybe we should not have bombed Iran. Like it's not that difficult. Hey, Danae, good morning. Good to see you. Um, let me see. Excuse me, Iranian government does not like the fact that Gulf countries let military bases. That's literally what I just said. So that those bases are attacked because, and if you notice, one of the things that some of the Middle Eastern, the Gulf states have said is they don't know if it's worth it. So the whole purpose of having U.S. bases in the Gulf states was to give them protection, right? It was to give them that sort of thing. And it hasn't happened. They have not seen the fruit from their investment in the United States of America. They have still been able to be attacked. They have still been able to be targeted. They have still been able to do this. So they are second guessing their relationship with the United States of America. And I do not blame them one bit, as is much of the world, right? Much of the world is rethinking that. So yeah, good morning, Neil. Yeah. So here's what I would say, Hubert, if you would like to have a discussion about this, then come on out of the chat and hit the comments. Come on out of the chat and hit the request button. That's all you got to do, Hubert. Good morning, Marie. Hey, David. Yeah, Mr. Sid, no, that makes no sense. Mr. Sid says that the only reason the UK didn't get involved is because they want higher prices. Yeah, that makes zero sense whatsoever. Good morning, Shanna. Like the things that you say just don't make sense. None. Mm. So it doesn't matter if they tax fuel or not, if they are having to ration their own electricity. Hey, good morning. Hey, Kim. Good to see you. So you do understand that, right? And who would you know that the UK doesn't tax everybody's fuel, right? You fell asleep last night. Don't worry. Oh, good morning down there in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Oh, you know what? Let me just help you. Good morning, Mr. Sid. I sent you an invitation to come to the panel. Would you like to come to the panel? I sent you a direct invitation. Good morning, Georgia. Good to see you. Oh, thanks, Adriana. Appreciate that. Mr. Sid, I'm giving you a welcome invitation to come to the panel. Let's talk about it. Yeah, this is real life, Amanda, for sure. Thanks. We are better than this. We do not have anything to discuss. I don't debate and argue with strangers, except you are from the comments, though. He said, we don't have anything to discuss. I don't debate and argue with strangers, except you are just in my comments. You just want to do it from behind a keyboard. You don't want to have to verbally articulate your arguments and then be asked for specifics in order to back them up. What's wrong with people? You know, It's just wild. You're disabled and choose not to come on the panel. That's your decision. But that's not what you said, Mr. Sid. So now I don't know that I believe you. And if you are disabled, that is fine. But that's not what you said, beloved. That's not what you said. Right? Right. So, yeah. So, because of what you said and what you articulated, you can stand by what you said. That doesn't mean I have to believe it. And the reason why I don't is because that's not what you said originally. Um, um, you do not support Iran and proxy wars. Well, then you should not support the United States of America being in Iran because that's a proxy war. We're doing it on behalf of Israel. We're doing it on behalf of Israel. Like, I'm just saying. Yeah. Like, this is not difficult, folks. And Mr. Sid, you would be incorrect. Literally, the foreign minister for Jordan, along with the other Arab and Muslim countries, all stood up together. I believe they were at a UN conference, and they said, "We all together guarantee the safety and security of Israel." With ex- under the framework of Israel removing itself from the illegally occupied areas in Palestine and going back to the original lines that were drawn in 1967. And they have said, we all want peace. We have all said that we will ensure, all of us together, we will ensure the security and the safety of Israel under the umbrella, under the concept of them removing themselves from Palestine. So if Israel wanted peace, all they have to do is withdraw themselves from the West Bank, withdraw themselves from Gaza, go back to the original lines of the 1967 outline and or 1948, whichever one's right, and that would be that. That's all they have to do. That's it. It's not difficult. Oh, you guys, Benny, Mr. Sid does want to debate. He just wants to do it from behind his keyboard. That's all. Good morning, Nikki. How are you? Yeah, nope. You've never heard me say that I want Israel gone. Never. And by the way, TikTok doesn't represent all of the Islam and Arab countries in the Middle East. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. Yeah, but they're not like me if they're saying those types of things. They're not like me if they're saying those types of things. So so when people say, Nance, that people want Trump impeached, what they would mean is that they would want Trump impeached and removed, and that's different, right? The concern is though is that I don't know that you're going to get that with the GOP majority that we have in the Senate and in the House, right? And so that's the difference. Impeachment and removal is different than just flat out impeachment, and so that's why people keep saying they want him impeached and removed. The thing is so, and this is just my opinion and my assessment of things. So what I think that they were doing over the last week or so is I think they were putting JD Vance in positions to see how he could perform and if people could get behind him and if he could secure a win. And he's not doing great, right? He invited the Pope here, the Pope declined. He went and he campaigned on behalf of Viktor Orban, and Viktor lost. Um, and then he went to Islamabad for the Iran negotiations and didn't reach a deal. So right now, JD Vance is 0 for 3, right? Which is not surprising because despite his book smart, he's just not Um, he's just not well equipped for anything else, and he certainly doesn't have the appeal and the personality that is necessary for productive negotiations and things like that. Yeah, he's not. I mean, it's not that Cat. Yes, he's not likable. Well, he's book smart. He went to Yale. Yes, he is book smart. Don't you guys never get that twisted. JD Vance is smart. He is just awkward. He's awkward. He is socially maybe a little behind. He like he doesn't fit in, but he is smart. Okay, I need y'all to hear me. You don't get to be a one year senator and all of a sudden you're the vice president of the United States of America if you're not smart. He and Usher are smart. No, nope, no, I'm not, hazel-eyed girl. No, I'm not. So JD Vance he has the ability to identify and to know emotion. Okay, a sociopath doesn't. A sociopath does not have that capability, right? So, in my opinion, do I think that Donald Trump is smart? No, I don't. I don't think that he is smart. I think that I think that Donald Trump has had smart people around him that have manipulated him to get the things done that they would like done, right? He has been managed for a long time by many different people, whether that was Roy Cohen, whether that was Roger Stone, whether that was stop Titan, the Heritage Foundation, whoever it was, right? And so, yeah, no, I don't believe that Donald Trump is smart. And listen, and for the person who says that I'm not smart, that's okay. You can have your opinion of me. It's a great thing that I know who I am and my intellectual capability and capacity, and I don't need a third party's opinion about that. So, just saying. Yeah. Now, JD Vance is devious. That's 100% accurate. Are we allowed to say that? Say what? All of this is going really fast over here on TikTok. The chat is going. The chat is always slower over here and fast over here. Yeah. Um. So no. So what the feeling that I get about Ushra is that she is very much like her husband. She's willing to do whatever to have success. That's the feeling that I get about Ushra. I don't believe that she aligns with their beliefs and their values, but that doesn't make her any better because she completely sacrifices her integrity in order to see JD succeed. So, yeah, I don't think that Ushra is any better than JD. I think they were made for each other. Yeah. No, I think they were made for each other. Yeah, Kim, you know what? Ignore Mr. Sid. Thank you for contributing to the algorithm, Mr. Sid. I appreciate you. Thank you for making sure more people watch. You're doing the Lord's work, Sid. Y'all put your blinders on and ignore him. Buenos dias, Mr. Barrios. Y'all, Mr. Sid is doing the Lord's work. You see how he's contributing to this algorithm over here? Leave Mr. Sid alone. Go ahead, Mr. Sid. Keep typing. Go ahead. You got them comments flying. TikTok is like, oh shit, they're engaging. Let's go. Um, who comes up with what garbage, Murph? Who you talking about? You mean this garbage? That would be the president of the United States that came up with this garbage. Oh, yeah, and he didn't even play it successfully on a local stage, right? If you think about it, Trump didn't play his game well on a local stage. New York hated him. So let me tell you what we saw in New York is very much the same thing that we see in his behavior in office, right? So one of the things that Donald Trump could never stand was that the old money in New York, the old real estate developers, he could never get their respect. They never wanted to he was never welcomed in. You know what I mean? And so because of that, he has spent all of his time trying to prove to them how great he is. And it's that same behavior that you see in the White House right now, right? It's the, oh, well, you don't respect me as the president. Look what I can do. This is his behavior. It's like a petulant child. Yes, these are real posts, Waldo. I took those screenshots myself. But so Georgia, he says he knows more about everything than anyone. It doesn't matter when it. I have heard this man say nobody knows climate change like I know climate change. Nobody's ever known. Nobody knows more than me about pantyhose. Like I know more about pantyhose than anybody ever in this life. Like that's his line. His line is, I know more than anybody about everything than anybody could ever think, right? All the time. um, and that's his spiel. And by the way, everything that he does is the greatest. Nobody's ever done it like him, right? He's done it so well, it's like no one's ever seen the greatest way that he could do this, right? I'm just saying, that's his thing. Listen, nobody knows more, and nobody's ever done it better. Which is why he thinks he's Jesus. That's it. So yeah, 100%. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah. Okay. So where should we start? Where should we? Okay, listen. What makes me an expert in what, Deb? It depends on what you're talking about. What makes me an expert about what? And by the way, he didn't have all the listen, he did have investors, but he also had to be bailed out by the banks. He also had to lie on paperwork to get the banks. And then he also had to file bankruptcy 6 times. So let me just be clear. Um, that doesn't make you smart. It doesn't make you make you a great business person. No, it just that's it. Yeah. So I'm just saying. So, and let me, can I say this to everybody that's watching for a moment? Amy, Donald Trump wants this building to be on the moon. That's where he's got it at. I'm sorry. Artemis went to the moon, and all of a sudden he said, shit, that's where the next Trump Towers is going to be. Artemis went around the moon, and he was like, that's what's next. Elon can get me there. Yeah. Yes. That's it. Yeah. Yari, that's from his Truth Social. I took this screenshot that is from his Truth Social. Both of these are. Okay. My mom said the same thing. Y'all are saying somebody said the same thing, Mama. They said, well, let's send him there. Good morning, God Mom. Okay. So listen, I do want to talk about this from a couple different perspectives. Okay. All right. So listen, let's do this. Can we, do you all want to talk about these posts from the religious perspective first? Or do you all want to talk about these posts from a national security presidential perspective first? Which one would you like? Which one? Should we talk religion first or should we talk national security? Everybody's talking national security. Okay, cool. Okay, so we'll do national security first, and then we'll do the religion side of things. Okay. So first, let me just say this. Um, well, Joey, I would be inclined to agree. Joey, I would be inclined to agree. Um, they're saying national first. Okay. All right. So here we go. All right. So listen. So let me ask this question of everybody that is watching. Number one, has anybody here ever had a security clearance? Anybody ever had a security clearance? Some of you say yes, many of you say no. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about a lot of you are say, okay, so hold on one second. Okay. All right. So I just want to give you this. All right, so let's talk about a couple of these things. So, how many of you guys? So that means, where was I when Biden was in office? Same place I am now, Preston. Where were you? Like, typically, I don't move when we change presidents. I pretty much like I don't base where I live off of who's president. So where was I? Same place I am now. I mean, technically, that's kind of true and kind of not. So actually, I moved a couple of times during Biden's presidency. My mom got sick, so I moved once, and then she wasn't sick, and so then I moved again, and you know what I mean. So, but yeah, I don't base where I live based off of that. All right. So give me one second, folks. Soup, I cannot with you. Um, yeah, Jamie. Okay, so yeah, Melly, because here's my thing, right? If people want to have a genuine conversation with me, if you really want to have a discussion with me about what my views are and am I able to be critical of any administration, regardless of their political party, then you can ask me that, right? But when you come in and it's but what about Biden and where were you during Biden, all of that, right? I don't. That's not a sincere inquiry. And so, if you're not going to give me a sincere inquiry, then I'm not going to give you a sincere response. I'm just not going to. If you want to have that, then there's a way to do it. It's why one of the first guidelines in this space is to be respectful, right? And so if you don't do that, then, it just is what it is, you know? So am I political? I believe that everyone is political. Political, by definition, is simply policy that impacts the social well-being of people. So I believe that everyone is political. Yeah, if you are interested in people at all, if you care about society, if you have children in school, if you live here, right, then you deal in policy that impacts your life. And so I think that everyone is political. You know what I mean? Right, PJ, you drive on the roads. If you say, right, you breathe air. Exactly. Right. So it just what it is. So Annabelle, do me a favor and don't type in all caps. It's one of the things that I ask for up here, because all caps are reserved for my folks that are vision impaired. and my moderators. Okay. Yeah. Bertie, I'm not sure what world you lived in, but there were a lot of people that speculated about Joe Biden's illnesses. So, yeah, when you say that nobody talked about Joe Biden's illnesses, I would say that I'm not sure where you were, but that's not true. Yeah, people were doing that quite a bit. So, give me a second. Yeah, Biden never compared himself to Jesus either. That is true. That is true. um, um, so one of the things that we have to talk about when we talk about so so we actually have a really strict no slurs guideline here, and so Sandy, Sleepy Joe can't even respond because, girl, listen, y'all, he's out. Sleepy Joe said one slur, and I was like, tink, done. Right? Like, that's it, done. Yeah, I mean, it's not, yeah, it's not difficult. Okay. So things that we can talk about, okay? Um there are yeah, you're welcome, which 100%. So listen, some of the things that are considered risks when you are getting a security clearance, or if you have a security clearance and those types of things. So, if you've ever applied to get a security clearance, that means you filled out a Form 86. So, if you have never seen a Form 86, or if you are not familiar with a Form 86 application, do me a favor and put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you have never seen a Form 86, or if you're not familiar with it. Okay. All right. So when you go to get a security clearance, you are filling out a standard form, which is SF-86 application, right? That's what it is that you're filling out. And when you apply for it, there are specific things that they are looking for, and things that can get you in a lot of trouble if you lie about them. Okay. But things that so if you falsify information, if you demonstrate a lack of integrity in your answers, and the way that you present yourself, that's a problem. And I'm just going to give you some of an overview of key risks, and then I'm going to look at specific documents for you. Okay, so I am looking at intelligencecareers.gov. So this is the government's website. Hey, Dax. This is the government website for the security clearance, and I don't know when the last time this was updated was, but we're just going to kind of go from there. And so it says we are looking for loyalty to the United States, strength of character, trustworthiness, honesty, reliability, discretion, and soundness of judgment. Right? They also say that they want to make sure that you are free from conflicting allegiances to any other countries. You are not a potential risk for blackmail, and that you will abide by the rules governing the use, the handling, and the protection of sensitive information. So, if I were to take all of these things and we just take them one at a time, okay? Let's do that with regard to the President of the United States of America. Okay. Um, let's discuss loyalty to the United States. Okay. Um, one of the things that I immediately think of that has happened very recently is when the President of the United States had the president or the prime minister for Israel in the Situation Room. Let me just say that again. The President of the United States of America had the prime minister for Israel in the situation room with our military leadership determining what we should or should not do. How many of you did not know that? Put a 2 in the chat if you did not know that the president of the United States of America had the prime minister in the situation room. Okay. Um, all right. So let me just be clear. For the person who said, were you there? No, I was not in the situation room, and I would hope to God that I was not, because I don't currently still have the top secret SCI clearance that I used to have. And even if I did, that situation was not a need to know. Okay. So, no, I wasn't there, and I should not have been there. The same way that the prime minister for Israel should not have been there. Okay. So, when you but how do we know that he was there? Because they told us he was there. They told us he was there. Okay. So I just want to be clear. Um, when Benjamin Netanyahu was at the White House on February the 11th, um, the Prime Minister Netanyahu and Trump and the President of the United States were whisked inside, and they were taken to the Situation Room, and they had a it was a let me tell you what they said. Um, and this is where people got really concerned. Okay. Um, the situation was used, and it was Bibi Netanyahu and Trump were in there together. And what's crazy about this is that Bibi Netanyahu sat on this side, and the president of the United States sat on this side and did not sit at the head of the table. I'm going to say that again. In the Situation Room, the prime minister of Israel sat on one side of the table. The president of the United States sat on the other side of the table. Neither of them sat at the head of the table. Yes. So if we go back to this list, this loyalty to the United States, right? And then the first one about not having conflicting allegiances to other countries. Now, let me just say this. I don't believe that Donald Trump nobody was at the head of the table. They sat across from each other at the table. And this was on February the 11th. Okay. So, and now here's the other thing that's really wild about this. Okay. So I just want you all to hear me when I say I don't believe that the president of the United States has allegiance to Israel. And the reason why I say that is this: I believe that there are many members of Congress, and that many members of Congress and our government have an allegiance to Israel. The president of the United States, though, does not have an allegiance to anyone other than himself. And I believe that firmly with every part of my being. I believe that the president of the United States only has loyalty to himself, and any loyalty that he gives to someone else is temporary and it is conditional. It is transactional. Okay. So if he likes what you are doing in that moment in time, if what you are doing is beneficial to him, and he feels like he's getting the benefit out of that, great. If he does not, then he will throw your ass under the bus and roll over. And all of a sudden, you will go from being Marjorie Taylor Greene to Marjorie Taylor Brown. You will go from being brilliant and one of the best journalist in the country to being a wacko who is just, the scum of the earth. Like, he doesn't have. So when it comes to that, he doesn't have an allegiance to anyone else, right? But he has an allegiance to himself and himself only. Um, but what that does do is it does make him vulnerable, and it makes the country vulnerable. Okay. Because if you are loyal only to yourself and you are looking out for what you believe is in your best interest, right? And you are someone that is very easily manipulated and handled, okay? That's a problem. That puts the country at risk. So when I talk about these posts and other statements that he's making, right? When I look at these posts and other things that he says and other things that he does, that's the beginning of what makes him a national security risk. Okay. Is there anybody currently that is in the queue that would like to discuss um, these posts from a national security perspective? Exactly, Joey. If you are in the queue and you want to talk about this from a national security perspective, go ahead and put like a purple heart in the chat for me so that I know. Because sometimes people tap, tap, tap and they get into the request, but they don't mean to be there. I need to make it. Oh, I know, Victor. I want some. I'm making a note. Don't judge me, because if I don't make a note, I'll forget. What are the names of them? Oh, that's it. I am having a serious craving right now. I love the cranberry and orange Belvito cracker cookie things. Y'all know what I'm talking about? It's way too much information, but literally my stomach was like, girl, I'm hungry. And I was like, dang, this is when I would have like one of those just sitting over to the side. And they're my favorite. So I was like, I need to make a note so I can get some of those today. But anyway, okay, so I'm guessing no one wants to talk about this from a national security perspective. Yeah, so we had the very first day of action on this past Saturday, and we're going to have a meeting next week to schedule the next one before the end of the month. Did you have the blueberry one this morning? Yeah. Somebody asked a question. Hold on, let me scan these comments real quick. You think Harris or Biden could do better? I believe that President Biden did do better, and I believe that Vice President Kamala Harris would have most certainly been better. Correct. Okay, so I got you fiending now. I'm just saying. You have the soft banana one. Yeah, banana one. Those are good too. Okay, so here we go. All right, so let me finish. All right, so here's I'm going down this deal about security clearances and what that entails. So the second one, what is the significance of the Situation Room? Oh my God. So our decisions about so listen, the Situation Room is where you discuss the most significant of issues and situations that demand action. It is a secure room. You do not bring devices into that room. You do not, like, there's nothing allowed in that room. And typically there are life and death decisions being made in that room. And the fact that we have a foreign leader in that room is wild to me. To my knowledge, it has never happened before. It has never happened before. And so it is incredibly significant that this happened. Okay. Just saying. Yeah, Jay Bird, to my knowledge, this is the first. Yeah. Yeah, Melly, on February 11th is when it happened. Correct. Correct. Yeah. It is it is significantly alarming. And one of the things that bothers me about it is the way in which Congress even talked about it, right? So like Ro Khanna was like, let's make a pledge that the next president of the United States won't have a foreign leader in the situation room, right? Like, can we let's don't act like this is I want people to, I feel like people minimize the things that he does and they make light of the things that he does as if they are not a significant threat to this country, and they are. Good morning, Brian. Like, they just are. And when you minimize those things, you are hurting people. You are literally putting the United States of America at greater risk. And so I want people to take what he does seriously, and what he says, take it seriously, because I promise you what he is saying and doing, he believes is serious. No matter how outlandish it is, no matter how silly or dumb it might sound, right? He is serious about the things that he says and does. He believes that he is literally like behaving like the man. And so it's important for people to know that. Catherine, I would love to discuss Afghanistan with you. I sent you an invitation to come up to the panel. You have a very serious question, and I would love to discuss it with you. So Catherine's question was, didn't Biden leave our people behind when pulling out of Afghanistan? Let's talk about Afghanistan, Catherine. I would love to do that. Are you able to come to the panel, Catherine? Kat, you are hilarious. No, you're at work right now. Well, then, girl, what you doing in the chat? Are you stealing wages from your employer, Catherine? Are you supposed to be working right now, but you're on TikTok? I'm just asking. I whispered like I'm at her job, y'all. I whispered like I'm at her job. Girl, girl, is you on TikTok over there, girl? Huh? What you doing? Do they know? Okay, so for the person who asked me, what do I know about Afghanistan? Feel free to come up to this panel and ask me about it. About we can have a discussion about Afghanistan. Girl, I know, Amy. But yeah, no, for the person who asked me, what do I know about Afghanistan? Come to the panel. And yeah, these are from last night, Glad K. These are from last night. And these were on his Truth Social. I didn't even bother to check his Twitter. So, Made in America, are you requesting to talk to me about Afghanistan? Or did you just type your way into the chat? Yeah. Yeah, Glad K. No? Okay, cool. So uh Hip, you want to talk about it? Here, I sent you an invitation too. I think you're the person who asked me about Afghanistan. So I sent you an invite to come to the panel. Let's talk about Afghanistan. Yeah, Joey, it is. Good morning, Connie. Good morning, Cheryl. Okay, so while we wait for HIP to find their way to the panel, we're going to go ahead and continue to talk about how these um, images relate to national security, along with a few other things. Okay. Oh, thanks. Policy driven. I've never seen that one. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So here we go. Where did I go? Where's what I had pulled up? Da, 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 da. Okay. Strength of character. That is point number 2 that the federal government says they are looking for when they are looking to see if you can have a security clearance and a job in intelligence. So can we talk about you just sound silly, HIP. Again, so I do want to say this. So HIP, listen, what you're doing right now is spreading misinformation, and I won't let you do that. Okay. So you can either come on my panel and we can discuss Afghanistan, and we can discuss Obama sending quote unquote billions of dollars in cash to Iran, or you will eventually be muted. And you're not going to be muted because you don't like me or you don't like what I'm saying. You're going to be muted because what you are saying is factually inaccurate. So you can either come to the panel so that we can discuss the actual facts around your allegations, or you will end up being muted because I don't allow misinformation in my space. So make your choice. Make your choice. Okay. So mods, check out HIP. And if HIP doesn't make their way to the panel and they continue with the misinformation, just go ahead and deal with that appropriately. Okay, perfect. So when we talk about strength of character, this is something that I believe is subjective, right? And well, Glenda, let's talk about it. Would you like to come to the panel? Glenda, would you like to discuss? Why are my feet cold this morning, y'all? Glenda, I'm very happy to talk to you about my statements about the president not being well. Right? Okay, but here we go. Yeah, lots of crickets, Tracy. Lots and lots and lots of crickets. Now I know your ass is from the South, Don Juan. Okay, so here we go. So strength of character is something that is subjective, but I think that even with things that are subjective, there are foundational elements that all of us can agree on, right? So yeah, there are different levels of clearance, Glenna. Yeah, absolutely. Right. So, I mean, there are just the things that are non-classified. There are things that are, confidential. There are things that are secret. There are things that are top secret. There are things that are top secret SCI. And then there are different levels of urgency when we talk about things that are classified, right? So like in my job that I had in the military, we were communications, and I worked in a skiff. And so we would see all different types of messaging that would come through the skiff, and that messaging would have different levels of priority, right? So urgent is different than priority, right? Emergency is different than urgent, and like flash is different than, like, we had different levels of urgency in terms of ensuring that things got where they needed to go when they needed to go, right? So, so I'm going to give you an example. So let's just say that I had a top secret communication that came through, but that top secret communication was just urgent, right? But then I had another communication come through that was secret, but it was flash, which flash is like more immediate than urgent. So that would mean, from a priority, yeah, we damn sure did not use Signal, right, Dank? So as a priority in terms of handling, it would actually be the secret flash communication that would be most important to handle first, because flash is more urgent than if it was top secret but just urgent. Does that make sense, you guys? So it was the level of classification, but also how urgent it was, how immediate did that information need to get where it was going. And those two things together determined how you handled messaging, right? So that's what makes it very different. Okay. But back when we talk about why I say that these actions from the president of the United States are alarming from a security clearance perspective and from a national security perspective is, like I said before, strength of character. I think that when you think about the character of an individual, it has to do with their how they handle the principle of the matter, right? Someone's character is incredibly important, and it is subjective, right? But there are just foundational things that I think everyone agrees on. When you have a strength of character, I think your reliability comes into play. When you talk about your strength of character, your integrity comes into play. Consistency comes into play. Being principled and unwilling to, I guess, I don't want to say sell out, but you all get what I'm saying, right? And so when I look at the current president of the United States, and for me, some people might not be able to do this, but I do this. I separate Donald Trump, the man, from Donald Trump, the business person, to Donald Trump, the president of the United States. And so I separate those three things because there are things that I don't give a shit about Donald Trump, the man, or even Donald Trump, the businessman. But the things that I do care about are Donald Trump, the president, right? And so this is what matters when people talk about Trump derangement syndrome. It's simply not a thing. Listen, if you are the president of the United States, then people should be concerned with what you do. And it does not make them deranged. It makes them engaged in their country, and it makes them patriots. They are concerned with what they do, right? Hey, happy girl. The difference is, right, is are they talking about Trump or are they talking about the president? So what I think would serve the media and the country very well is if everyone stopped saying Trump did this. And I've said this before. I said this before. What I absolutely believe is that everyone should stop saying Trump did or said this. People should say the president of the United States said or did this, because that will change the perspective. When you refer to the president of the United States, it's different, right? If I say the president of the United States, or let me just back up. If I say, Jeff Bezos said the Pope was a It matters that the President of the United States of America was triggered by a 60 Minutes episode on the Pope, right? No, it's here. It says that there's an issue, but hopefully it's reconnecting. You follow me, you all? Like that absolutely matters. I know, you guys. It says it's reconnecting. I don't know why. Something's going on over here on this side. Hey, facts people, welcome, welcome, welcome. Love to see facts people rolling up in here. So, one of the things that I would encourage all of us to do, right? Hey, facts people, I'm back. Great, Joey. Thanks for letting me know. Um, let me see. One of the things that I think would be so significant, and this is something. So, do you all remember how in this space we talk about the things that we can do, that where we either can control a situation, or where we can control a situation, or where we can influence a situation, right? So this is a situation that you could influence. What would happen if everybody contacted their legislators and asked your legislators to begin saying things like, "Hey, facts people, thank you all for joining. I appreciate it. Yay! We loves facts." So appreciate you guys rolling on in here. Hey, Gigi. But so one of the things that you can absolutely do is ask your, oh, thanks, Susie, is ask your folks, your representatives, to stop referring to him as Trump. To ask your representatives to say the President of the United States of America said this. The President of the United States of America did that, right? Oreo, do me a favor and please don't spam the comments, right? That would be great. But so this is one of the things that I would love to see happen, um, from our legislators, right? Because it makes a difference. And so we should have every number. So number one, how does it bother him? Appreciate you facts people for rolling in here. How does that affect um, Donald Trump? So number one, and what's the benefit to the people? Um, Jer Bear, the Discord link is in the link tree at the very top, so you should just be able to copy the link again. But so follow me about this. I gave this example just a second ago, and I'm going to give it to you again. What's up, RC Mooney Moon Pie? Love that. So I'm going to give this to you and see if this makes sense. Okay, folks. So when I say to you, Donald Trump posted a meme of Trump Tower on the moon, or if I say Donald Trump posted a picture of himself as Jesus Christ, right? Um, you just go, well, it's Donald Trump. Of course, he thinks he can put Trump Towers on the moon. He's delusional, right? It just kind of goes like, okay. But if I say the President of the United States of America went on a rant at 11 o'clock last night where he disrespected the Pope, posted a picture as if he was Jesus Christ, posted a second picture of one of his buildings on the moon, right? You see that a little different, right? Because we talk about this behavior coming from the President of the United States, and it is a significant security risk. Do you know what it also does? It does carry more weight because you are referring to him as the president. But do you know what else it does? It takes his fucking name out of the headlines. He loves to hear his name. He loves to see his name in all of the headlines. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. He just likes the fact that people are saying Trump. So stop saying his name. Stop saying his name, because when you say his name, it diminishes his behavior. It minimizes the significance of it. And two, it placates to him, right? So every time you go to talk about what he's doing and saying, you have to say the President of the United States. And it's two birds with one stone, right? And so, ooh, did y'all see the lights flashing? So it is significant. Um, don't laugh at me. Yeah, it's impact. But see, even when you say things like that, so Dano, even when you say things like that, that's not, it doesn't helpful. So again, it's that thing that minimizes it, because you could be talking about anybody. But so there is a certain expectation that we have from the President of the United States. And there is a certain expectation that the world has of what is going to come from the President of the United States. This is not about the person, it's about the office. This is the office of the President of the United States. It's that position. And we have to start speaking about this position because of the weight that it carries. I am extremely, and I have talked to other veterans as well, who one of my friends that I talk about, who is a veteran, and we served together, and he served for a long time after I did, but he was in the Pentagon on 9/11. He worked in the Pentagon at the time. And he and I were talking just last week, and we were specifically talking about the security risks and the security of the United States of America as a result of this president, and the things that he does and the things that he says, and this idea somehow that we don't need allies, this idea somehow that the United States of America can stand all alone in and of herself and be okay, which is absolutely ridiculous. And it's really important that we start to talk about all of those things from that perspective. It's not like it's just alarming. Well, I'll be able to take a look and see if he deleted his Jesus post. I literally took the screenshot and I looked at it this morning. I just looked at it before I went live. His moon post is still there. His post about Pope Leo is still there. And he did, in fact, delete his Jesus post. He did. He did delete his Jesus post. But okay, so let's talk about even that. To me, that's worse. To me, that's worse. And I'm going to share with you why. I'm going to share with you why that's worse. Are you ready? Oh, I absolutely do. He was made to take it down. He was made to take it down. But that to me is even worse, because what that tells you is he did not have the understanding and the capability to determine how inappropriate it was, how dangerous it was before he did it. Hey, Allah Shak Shak, like, to me, that makes it even right. The wherewithal. You got to stop fucking calling me back to back. I am working. But like, to me, that's even worse. He did not have the intellectual capacity, the wherewithal, the intelligence, the discernment. He did not have. So listen, what did we just say is one of the things that they are looking for with security clearances? What did we just say? One of them is discretion and soundness of judgment. You follow me? One of them, and this is from the government site, right? Discretion and soundness of judgment. The president of the United States should not need people to come to him and say, "Sir, take the fucking Jesus post down." You follow me? Like, that's a thing that just shouldn't have to occur. No one should have to tell the president of the United States it's probably not a good idea to make a post like you're Jesus, right? That is not soundness of mind. That is not discretion and judgment. Okay? Just period. And so I think that that's really important that we think about those things. Now, other things that I also think about, right? The other things that I also think about is no one made him take down the Barack and Michelle post at the end of the video. No one made him take that one down, did they? The video that he shared at the end that had President Obama and Michelle as animals, nobody made him take that one down, did they? So take from that what you will. Exactly. I agree. That one appeals to his base. This one does not. That one appeals to his base. This one does not. Okay? The other things that they are looking for when it comes to security clearance is these, to me, these kind of go together: trustworthiness, honesty, and reliability. Do we even need to talk about that? In the first administration, we had a president that lied 30,000 times plus. So can we just like throw honesty out the damn window, right? Can we just like, brrr? The president of the United States lies on a regular basis. He just opens his mouth and lies come out. And one of the things, so let me just tell you what I believe, and this is my personal opinion about this. What I believe is that he believes he is being honest to some degree because he believes the things he is saying out of his own mouth sometimes. You follow me? That makes him more dangerous. A liar who believes their own lies is more dangerous than a liar that knows he's lying. What do you disagree about, Amy? Because for me, someone who believes their own lies is more dangerous than someone that knows they're lying. I'm just saying. He literally believes his own lies, and that is dangerous. So, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again to everybody that keeps saying that he is a psychopath. I do not believe he's a psychopath. I don't believe that. I believe he demonstrates characteristics that align more closely with a sociopath. That's what I believe. No, I don't mean he doesn't know any better. I believe he believes his own lies. So like when I think about a psychopath, right? I would put Bibi Netanyahu more in that category. I would put JD Vance in that category. Okay. I would put no, let me take JD back. Maybe. I would definitely put BB in that category. I would put yeah. So, and there's a difference, you guys. Yeah, Pete. Pete is definitely one that I would put in that category. Scott Bessent, I would put in that category. Yes. Yes. And the fact that you guys can make that distinction is fantastic. Is fantastic because they are very different in the way that they show up. Right? Yeah, I would put Stephen Miller in there too. Yeah, right? 100%. Yeah, Russell Vaught is 100%. See, I'm not diagnosing people. I am saying that I believe their characteristics more align more with psychopath than sociopath. Okay? Yeah. So, because sociopaths have more of an impulse control. Sociopaths have an absence of their emotional intelligence and even a lack of emotional cues, right? Psychopaths understand that they're supposed to feel a certain way. So they'll even try to feel it even if they don't. Right? They'll know they're supposed to feel like they should cry. So they might sound like it, but they're not really crying. That psychopaths understand that they're supposed to be able to do that. Okay. Sociopaths don't. They're completely oblivious. Yeah, they mimic. Psychopaths mimic. Sociopaths do not. And that's why when people ask him, and I give this example all the time, listen, that is why they were like, how are you doing, Mr. President? How are you doing, since Charlie passed? And he was like, oh yeah, I'm doing okay. Charlie was a great guy. Did you see my ballroom? Have you seen oh my gosh, it's going to be the biggest, best, greatest ballroom you've ever seen in your life. Have you seen it? Like, oh, it's going to be exceptional. It's going to be the greatest ballroom that's ever existed. Like, what in the fuck? Okay, that's the difference. Right. Sociopaths cannot read the room at all. So, just saying, just for me, that's what I see. That's what I see in the way that he shows up. And the thing about that, if he were just still a fake ass successful businessman on The Apprentice, I would not care. But he's not. He's the president of the United States. And that's the only reason I give a shit about this man. That is the only reason I give a damn about this man, is because he's the president of the United States. That's it. And so when people try to say, oh, that's Trump derangement syndrome, no, it's not. No, it's not. I understand that today, and this is wild to say, the president of the United States of America is a danger to the country. When I think about the greatest threats to this country, I would say not only is it the president and his administration, I would say right now it's Congress. It's also Congress. Why? Because Congress has the ability to rein in part of what this president is doing. And that means we are up shit's creek without a paddle, folks. If the president of the United States and his administration are a danger to the country and the world, and Congress is also a danger to the people and the world, and depending upon the fucking day of the week, so is the Supreme Court. So what does that leave us? Because when I think about these things, right? When I think about these things, of those three things, there is only one that the people can absolutely do something about. Because we do not get to appoint Supreme Court justices. And we don't get to impeach and remove anybody in the administration. So in our three branches of government, what is the only branch of government that we can impact right now and significantly impact in November? Congress. That's it. It's Congress, people. And so listen, when people say things like, "Oh, we need a new system." Well, I need a fucking $1 million. I don't have $1 million in my bank account yet, and we don't have a new system yet. So we have to work within the system that we have, because the burn it down people don't understand that the billionaires, the centimillionaires, and the trillionaire are not going to be burnt up. They literally have enough money that no matter what the fuck you do, they are not going to suffer. It will only be the rest of us. Do y'all understand that to me? Are y'all getting that? So let me I need y'all to stick with me here, okay? One of the advantages of monopolizing different segments of the industry, right, is that you become too big to take down. At least that's what they think. Okay. So I want you to understand, when we think about the majority of our corporations, right? Um, I you can think about almost every major industry in this country, and you can damn near trace all of them back to 50 people or less. That is very, very, very dangerous. Being able to take almost every major industry and trace it back to just a handful of people, right? A few dozen people. That's dangerous, because it limits the people's ability to have an economic impact on certain people, right? So in 1967, when you could walk into 4 GM plants and take over them and tie GM's hands, it's very different than today, right? It's very different than today. So the folks that talk about just burning it down and, just whatever, I don't believe that. So here's my thing. I would only want to burn a system down if I had no other choice. If I had no other choice except to burn the system down, then cool. But we do have other choices. We do. We have other choices. Because here's what I understand that if all of the systems that we have right now collapse, the people that suffer are the people that are already suffering. The people that can get on their private jets and go to another damn country, they're not suffering, and they will not suffer. Okay. So, hey, Ruthie. So, for me, if I understand that within the system that currently exists, right? If within the system that currently exists, we can take away their power, and literally less than 3 years, in less than 3 years, have this country on a really good path in terms of stability, and be in a position to truly change the systems and the structures of our systems, I would prefer that. If I can accomplish my goal and do it with the least amount of harm possible, choice I want. And let me just be clear for all of the people say that the people that you're talking about won't allow it to happen. History proves that you're wrong. History proves that you're wrong. Every empire, every dictatorship, every all of those things, history proves that you're wrong. Viktor Orban learned that lesson just yesterday. History proves that you're wrong. It's not about whether they allow it to happen. You don't allow a revolution, the revolution just fucking happens. I can promise you all the Republican Party did not let MAGA take over. MAGA just took over. I'm not asking anybody's permission. I'm not asking anybody's permission to do what's best for my country. I don't need the president of the United States or anyone else to tell me, "Oh, I will allow you to vote in the way that is best for regular working class people." I don't need the president to give me that permission. I don't need those 50 people that run these industries to tell me that, "Oh, yes, you can organize. Yes, you can talk to your neighbors. Yes, you can give people facts. Yes, you can bring people together. Yes, you all can mobilize. Yes, you all can win 21 of the 22 Senate seats that are up in November." I don't need their permission. We can just simply do it. And I'm always honest about bad leadership on both sides. And I approach bad leadership on both sides the same way I'm approaching this. Okay, so follow me. Okay, when we talk about bad leadership on both sides, I'm aware of that. I also approach that the same way that I'm approaching the issues, right? And so what I have to do is think about which of the bad actors are creating the most harm right now. Right? So what happens? Yeah, so Schumer and Jeffries need to go, but I'm just going to tell you right now, folks, if we in the primaries and Hakeem Jeffries is still the person to vote for, guess what you better do? You better hit the button and fucking vote for Hakeem Jeffries. If both of those two individuals win their primaries and they are the options on the ballot, that's who you vote for. Period. And then you get somebody to primary their ass again. And you get them out of office. Because here's what I will tell you, folks, is they absolutely know for sure that this is the last year that some of those Dems are going to get to behave the way they're behaving. It's the last time some of those Dems are going to be able to take the money that they're taking from certain PACs. Some of these Dems understand this was the last time they took a public trip to Israel and kissed the fucking wall. They understand that. Make no mistake. And so this is one of the biggest challenges that progressives have is Republicans, they will play the long game, y'all, for as long as they have to play the long game. How long have they been working on Project 2025, you all? How long have they been working to overturn Roe v. Wade? Tell me. How long? 50 years since Reagan. You got it. Name for me something that the Democratic Party, that progressives have been fighting for and working on consistently with no break for 40 or 50 years. Name one thing for me. Name one thing for me that progressives have been in the damn dirt. You can't. No, they haven't, Sacred Space. Once we got the ACA Act, nobody's done shit since then. Let me tell you something. Yeah, Scott, feelings. I would agree with that. Do you all realize that there's no such thing as an off cycle year for Republicans? Did you all know that? There's no such thing as an off cycle year. Simply, Steph, these are from last night between 11 p.m. and or so. Yes. So this is what I mean by that, okay? So I'm from a small town. Okay? So here's what I can tell you all. When I go home to visit my mom, they get free Republican newsletters, free Republican paper, the Epic Times, is it Epic Times? EPOCH Times. They do their propaganda 24/7, 365 days a fucking year. They don't take breaks. They don't stop campaigning. They don't stop putting out information. They don't stop sending things to their constituents. Tell me, right, Kenya, the long games. And yeah, they pay. It gets delivered to your mailbox. You don't got to order it. You don't got to pay for it. You don't got to do any of that. Tell me the last time the Democratic Party put together its own publication and they intentionally sit out accurate information. Right. I know, Amy, it's propaganda. It's not true. It's bullshit. It's slanted, but they are feeding it to the people year after year after year after year. So, you follow me, y'all? And so, what has to happen is progressives. Notice I'm not saying Democrats. So, I consider myself to be, if I were going to choose a label, I consider myself to be a progressive populist. What does that mean? A populist is someone who represents and believes in the working class people. What does that mean, right? It means I believe that our policies and our government should work for people like my mom that worked in a factory for fucking 20 years, right? I believe that policies should work for the single mama who left the abusive man and is raising her two kids and needs SNAP and WIC to get on her feet. I believe that corporations that are getting tax incentives and all of these other things should be required to pay a livable wage. I don't believe that corporations have the same privileges as and are the same and deserve the same rights as people. That's what that means to me. Hella, 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 Raja, right? That's what that means to me. Now, when I talk about being a progressive, that's going to be different probably than what some of you all think a progressive is. Okay. So for me, a progressive doesn't mean that I let me see how I can say this. Being a progressive for me means that I understand that how people choose to live their life is their business. And as long as their rights don't impede mine, then that's up to them. I do not desire to legislate someone else's morality because I understand that that is not my job and my responsibility. And typically, people who desire to legislate someone else's morality are interested in doing that because they want to feel better about the shit that they have going on in their own lives. I need to point out what needs to be fixed on somebody else so that I don't have to acknowledge my own shit. Okay. So you don't open the door for extremes. No, you don't. In what way, Dana? What's up with Eric Selwell? He has dropped out of the governor's race, and there's an investigation into the allegations of sexual harassment. So that's all that I know so far. Dana, I sent you an invitation to come to the panel so that we can talk about it. Hey. So
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
So Sassy Cinderella, let me say this. So it's not actually convenient timing. I will share with you how the Eric Sawell thing came to be. He was interviewed by Miss Frazzle. Miss Frazzle did an interview with him several months ago, earlier at the beginning of this year. And when she interviewed him, along with other members of Congress, women began DMing her, right? Who she's a progressive, and women began telling her what happened to him, and that's how this eventually came out. This has been several months in the making, and it's actually because the women came out because Miss Frazzle interviewed him, and the women were saying, "You don't want to associate with him. You don't want to whatever." So I don't care. So let me just say this: when you say things like convenient timing, that's what they said about E. Jean Carroll and Donald Trump, right? When you say, oh, great timing, convenient timing, that's what they said about Katie Johnson and Donald Trump. So I don't care about timing. If men did those things, then they need to be held accountable, and it doesn't matter to me when it comes out. Okay. Appreciate that, Dana. Okay, so what do you mean that you make room for the extremes?
Okay, so when you can utilize LGBT issues and Christian issues, right, or conservative issues, when you don't address certain things, and I'm just talking about national issues, right, that each group can go to the extremes, right? So in the various states, they're fighting to have the 10 Commandments in all the schools, whether it's Christian or not, right?
Mhm.
And so when you say, well, as long as it doesn't impede on me,
No.
we have people.
But that's not what I said. That's not what I said. What I said is, yeah. So what I said is, so for me, part of being a progressive means that when someone is exercising their rights, for example, their freedom of religion, their right to exercise that freedom of religion stops when they reach my right to not exercise their religion, right? So that's what I'm saying. And so it actually limits the extremes. So by saying,
well, not necessarily, because then you get into an area where there is blatant ignorance, right, on both sides. And so people, instead of debating or talking about, hey, is it really fair to have trans kids? Is it really fair to have prayer in school, or however that is interpreted in those particular cities, right? That's what I'm talking about. That there are certain conversations that we are not being allowed to have for the purpose of these different parties and their agendas. And we can't keep being like that.
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm literally saying that I'm literally talking about those two things, right? So here's what I'm saying. If there's a conversation about prayer in school, right? Then people can have that conversation. And so let me back up.
No, we got time. I'm here.
Yeah. So let me back up. So we can talk about trans kids. We can talk about that. Okay. So I don't believe it's anybody's business outside of my family and our pediatrician as to what's going on with my child. And the reason I say that is because pediatricians are required. They are mandatory reporters, right? So pediatricians are mandatory reporters. So are school teachers. So are guidance counselors. These people are mandatory reporters. And if a physician, if a pediatrician believes that what's being done is harmful to the child, then they report, right? That's what their job is to do. And so for me, sitting on the outside, that's I don't need to legislate any of that because that is literally between that family, their physician, and whatever their faith is. It's not my job to legislate that. Now, if I know them personally and I believe that something is being done to harm the child, then I can report them, right? If that's what I believe on a personal level. But other than that, whether or not someone has a trans kid is none of my business.
Well, but see, that's where even there is a debate amongst progressive and Dems and everybody on the left, right? Whether it's far left, mid left, whatever. That's where the debate comes in, because when you have people who come back and say, hey, my parents forced me into this, or I didn't have a say so in this, we have to have balance in how we deem we are restricting someone's rights, right? And it's the same thing with Christianity. There are kids who are being abused in Christian homes because of the so-called word of God, right? And so it's their family and it's their child, but at the same time, a child is a child, and they need protection as well. And we can't always back up and say, oh, well, that's, their thing and that's a family issue. And the pediatrician is not the one who made the decision regarding trans, whether a child changes or whatever.
Well, no, but actually the physicians are yes, they are. So if we are talking about physical transitioning and if we are talking about any type of gender affirming care, it is absolutely
it's usually the psychiatrist.
So, but
saying, hey, go ahead.
Yeah, but it's a combination between the two things. So there is a physician and there is a psychiatrist. It is those two people together. And so, for example, before people are allowed to transition physically in any form, they require psychiatric care. And it used to be for a year, and I'm not sure how long it is now. It also before they can even begin gender affirming care, right? All of those things. And so what I am.
So why would a child be focused on changing their gender?
So if a child, right? A
child. Why would they be focused on changing their gender?
Well, a child would become focused, especially when you see this become an issue, is when they reach when they reach like puberty, and they're about to.
That's puberty. That's them, coming into the area of exploring sex and stuff. But
no, puberty isn't sex. Child, I'm not talking about puberty.
No, what I'm saying is that when I say a child, I'm talking about 7, 8, 9 years old. I'm not talking about the teenage group, because they're coming into themselves. They're about to start exploring. And I'm saying sex, but what I mean is they're just in the place of exploring in general. So that's a different stage of life. But what I'm talking about is very young kids. And there are reports and there are cases where some people's sex were changed when they were very young and they had no choice.
No,
it's different when you're 18.
That's not a thing.
It's different when you're older.
That's not a thing.
Yes, yes,
no, it's not.
That is.
No, it's not. I can tell you that
there is several ladies whose breasts have been taken.
Not as children. There are not. And what I'm going to ask you to do is
under 17 and your breasts are being taken, you are a child.
So let me be clear. When you are saying that these things have happened and they didn't have a choice, that's not accurate. And what I'm going to ask you for is for a legitimate source about those things, because that's not what.
These are common cases.
No, but they are not common cases. And the reason I can say,
that's
Dana,
one of the reasons
Dana, hold on for a second.
Has come at the left.
Dana.
Go ahead.
Okay, so a couple of things. Okay, so first, that's not a common thing. And the reason that I am confident that it's not a common thing is because this is an area that I've researched. I have a cousin that is trans.
You've researched, but this is an area where I do legal work.
And so then I'm going to ask you for a legal case. Then I'm going to ask you for a legal case.
Yeah, and it's something that you can look up on your own.
And that's what I'm telling you is that I have. So that's what I'm telling you is that I have.
You can't, because there have been white women who have said, hey, I don't have my breasts. I don't have certain things anymore.
Not because they were taken against their will. And I want to back up for just a second.
Their parents made that decision.
I'm going to back up. I'm going to back up for just a second. Hold on. I'm going to back up. Okay, because I need to finish this one, and then we're going to go to the second one. Okay? So the first thing is when we talk about puberty is not about sex. Puberty is about hormones, is about like development and those things.
We're on the same page with that. Exactly.
So puberty can start at different times. I know girls that got their menstrual cycles at the age of 9.
Right.
And at the age of 10. Okay. And so when we talk about that is puberty. And so when you say, why would someone be concerned about their gender or their sex at 9 years of age? That's because their bodies change at 9, 10, 11 years of age. And that is when, if they believe that they are that they are not meant to be a girl or a boy, or the way that society, because gender and sex are two different things. Okay.
Right.
So if that is what they feel, that is why they would begin to feel that way at that age. So that's one reason. So you say why? Yeah. So what I would say is that, and I don't believe that those kids are focused on it. What I do feel like is that it would be the same thing as it is with anything else as a child. If there is something that is that you don't feel represents you adequately, if you feel like something is not your authentic self, you're not going to focus on it. I didn't say anything about a child. Dana, please stop talking over me for just a moment. I am not talking about a child making a decision, because children don't make decisions about these things. Children do not make decisions about these things. They legally do not have the authority to make decisions about those things. They do not. So that would be the first thing that I would say. Number 2, your question to me was, why would children that are 8 and 9 years old be concerned about this thing? And what I just shared with you is because at 8 and 9 years old is when your body begins to develop into whatever sex you are and the gender that society has ascribed to you. Okay. So that would be what I'm saying. And I think it's also important to note that individuals that are trans, not everyone physically transitions. Not everyone, a large number of trans individuals do not physically transition at all. And the requirements to physically transition are stiff and they are significant. You have to live as that gender for X amount of time. You have to take your gender affirming care for a certain amount of time. Like there are strict requirements for the folks that do this, and there are not a lot of people in this country that actually do transgender operations. So right, I know. So there's not a ton of people that do it. It's expensive to have done. And so it's not something that someone just arbitrarily has happened, or it happens to you like at the drop of a dime. It's not something that occurs, and it does not occur on minor children. Nobody is taking minor children and taking them through a physical transition. And what I'm going to say to you specifically is, when you say, well, I've done legal work in this field, then I'm going to ask you for the legal case for what you are saying. I'm going to ask you specifically for the sources, especially if you are saying that they are legal, then I'm going to ask you to give that source, because I give mine.
She actually went to Congress, and she went to Congress as an adult because she couldn't fight for herself as a young person.
So again, but here's the thing. You said it was a common issue. So I'm not talking about a one-off situation.
No. When I say a common issue, I don't mean the actual surgery. I'm saying the actual debate of, the transitioning kids, because it has been a fire debate, especially in the South.
So, but here's the thing, okay? Let me just be clear about something. So, citing one case where one woman went to Congress, I can find. So, if we're going to talk about what parents have done around children that are LGBTQIA, right? If we're going to talk about that, then we can talk about the hundreds of children that were forced to go to conversion therapy and tortured because they wanted to be able to pray away the gay.
That's fair. And that conversation has to be had.
Yeah, but that's a difference. You're citing to me one case, and I am giving you hundreds of children.
What I'm saying is, I'm talking specifically about a case that I know about, but there are multiple cases, because
and I'm going to ask you for them
at a correct age.
I'm going to ask you for them.
At, above 18. But what I'm saying to you is that even with the gender affirming, or whatever, the conversion therapy, I'm against that as well.
Gender affirming isn't conversion anything. So let me ask you a question. So do you realize, Dana, that gender affirming care can be because
ma'am, I was talking, I made a mistake. I'm talking about the conversion of care, where they teach them how not to be LGBTQ or whatever, right? So what I'm saying to you is, even with that has to be a conversation that needs to be had. It's not something that should be left up. Oh, well, these kids are over on this side, and they, that's between them and their family. No, that's a serious thing that they actually tried to put into schools and tried to get kids to sign up and do all kinds of stuff. So what I'm saying to you is, these conversations, they have to be had, like thorough conversations, like we're doing right now. I'm not saying. Yeah, go ahead.
But the thing about it is these conversations don't have to be had. And the reason why is because it's literally not my business. So the same way that nobody is going to come tell me what I need to be doing and what's best for my child in our case.
People who believe in eating babies could take the same stance.
No, they couldn't. And because I'm going to tell you right, no, they couldn't, because you're not going to be allowed to eat babies. So if I am taking my child to the psychiatrist and to the pediatrician, and I am taking care of my child, right? Those three things, then it's not, I don't care what anybody else thinks about what I'm doing, because that is between me, my child, and our physicians. It's nobody else's business. And if you think that there's an issue, right, because you know me personally, then go ahead and call social services. And guess what will happen? When social services comes to my house and they see that I am a responsible parent taking care of my child, and my child is going to see a psychiatrist, my child is going to see a pediatrician, and my child is well adapted, social services is going to pack their bags up and go on home because there's nothing wrong with my kid. So someone else's opinion doesn't matter if I am taking care of my child appropriately. Hold on. Yes. Yes. So that's the point that I'm making. And so this is when I say your rights end where mine begin. And so I have the right to raise my child the way that I believe is best for my child. And there are laws around how I can raise my child. And when my child, and what's crazy is you don't teach children to be gay or not be gay. You don't teach children to be trans or not be trans. People, they just simply are who they are. And that's the thing that is really important for people to understand. Yeah. What? Okay. So I think that that's just really important. Listen, you can take a gay kid and you can put that gay child on an island with let's just say it's a gay boy. And you can put that gay boy on an island with the most gorgeous girl in the world. And after 30 days, his ass is still going to be gay. It doesn't matter how pretty the girl is, because that's what he is. You can put me.
The child is gay if they're not engaging in gay activities.
What are gay activities? What are gay activities? Because activities are just activities.
Y'all are socially just.
What are gay activities?
Brainwashed on the left side, and the LGBT community is going to change. There is so much change coming because there are people who are against all of this. That's a part of the LGBT community.
So let me just
understand what you're saying. I just wanted to hear you out to understand what you personally feel because of some of the stuff that you were saying. But I understand your position now. But at the same time, the overall position on the left is not what you're saying.
So when you talk about the overall position on the left, right? So this is the problem that I have when people talk in language like this, okay? Is because it is an overall encompassing conversation. And I don't think that there is. And let me ask you this. What do you believe the overall position on the left is?
I think the overall position on the left, when it comes down to what is in the forefront, has nothing to do with the actual left side. I think that there is an agenda, and it is very dangerous. I think that in talking to you, I'm understanding a lot more of why some people believe what they believe, but at the same time, there has to be balance in how we challenge each other and how we not allow, I guess, over individual thinking and matters that affect people in a long-term way. So I get what you're saying personally, right? But at the same time, I am looking at the experiences of those people who have been to left, and I don't want to say left, I probably shouldn't say left, but who have been to community events and go ahead.
The question that I ask you that I don't think that you've answered yet is, what is it that the left believes, or what is this agenda you're referring to?
I think that there is an agenda.
What is it?
As far and let me be specific, like trans men and women's sports. You think that's fair?
Well, so what do you know about trans individuals, and can you tell me when is the first time that we had intersex, DSD, or trans individuals in sports?
So when let me make it, just keep it simple for you. when a young girl.
No. I don't want to do hypotheticals. I don't. Wait. I don't want to do.
I'm not doing hypotheticals.
But hold on.
These are things that actually happen.
Hold on for a
when
second.
A young girl actually.
So first, wait, Dana, please stop talking over me, please.
No, listen.
No, ma'am. Absolutely not. Absolutely not, Dana. You don't get to do that.
I'm trying.
Ma'am, no. I asked you a question. And what you don't get to do in this space, what you do not get to do, Dana, stop. You can either have a respectful conversation with me or not. But we are going to have a respectful conversation. You don't get to come in and talk over me and yell at me and tell me just listen. I would never come in your space and behave that way. Never. That's inappropriate. What I asked you was very simple. I asked you to tell me what you believe the agenda is. I don't need an example of anything. I would like to know your answer to what the agenda is. And there you go.
You know that is wrong. Don't cut me off.
I asked you, Dana, the question that I asked you is, what is the agenda? What is the agenda, Dana? Tell me the agenda.
The agenda will be dealt with.
What is the agenda? What is it? I don't know. I think she got a phone call, is what I think. Okay, so she left. So let me be clear, folks. For the people that, because we are going to have a conversation about this, and I'm going to be very clear about something. Okay. There is no agenda when it comes to trans individuals in the world. Okay. For anyone that is interested, we have had DSD intersex individuals in sports for 80, 90 years. There were Russian sisters in the Olympics in the 60s that were believed to be DSD individuals that competed. Okay. This is just a fact. Trans people have always existed. Okay. Just so everyone understands. And it's really important that people understand that people are not made, and all people are not either male or female. This idea that there are only two sexes is anatomically, biologically, medically inaccurate. I'm going to say that again. This idea that there are only two sexes and that equates to only two genders is incorrect. Okay. So there are a lot of things that determine the sex of a person. It's not just your anatomical makeup. It's not about, do you have quote unquote girl parts or boy parts, right? There is a hormonal component that goes along with that. There's a lot of things that go along with being able to do that. Gender is a social construct, right? Gender is a social construct, and gender is different than sex. All right. So there are individuals many of them, by the way. The approximate number varies, right? So I'll just give you an idea. So some of the studies that have been done will have the estimate at around 6 million. There are estimated to be as many as 6 million DSD or intersex individuals in the world. That's the same number that there are redheads in the world. And for those of you all who don't understand it, redheads used to be demonized as well, and to some degree are still ostracized. Okay? Now, there is a difference, and it's important that people need to understand something, okay? Um, who you are sexually attracted to does not have anything to do with your anatomical makeup or your gender identity. So I could have the anatomical structure of a girl, which I do. Okay. I could identify as as binary. Okay. I could identify as binary. And then I could be attracted to boys. I just blew some of y'all's minds, didn't I? I just blew some of y'all's minds. I could have the biological makeup, all the parts of a female. I could identify as binary and be attracted to boys or be attracted to girls. Who you are attracted to has nothing to do with your gender or your sex. Did I say? I don't know what I said. Non-binary is what I meant. Yes, I meant non-binary. I don't know what I said. So, yeah, I did. So the other parts of that, folks, is if you look at, and the reason I talk about it in this manner, what I'm about to say next, is because many of the people that I hear with this argument or this complaint or this concern tend to be Christian people, right? They tend to be Christians. And so, what I would say is that if we are all made in the image of God, and we know that God has both feminine and masculine characteristics, and we look at the world that God created, okay? So, no, so Jesus doesn't speak about male and female. So, Shelley, this is what's important. So, I would like for you to get a medical book instead of Matthew 19:12. And the reason I say that, so number one, we know that people aren't born male and female unless you believe God's out here making mistakes. Okay? And here's the reason why. People, just like animals in nature, are born in different ways. So, for example, there are some people, just like animals in nature, that are born with external genitalia that would be associated with one particular sex. Internally, they might not have all the parts that would normally go with that particular sex. Okay. And some of those other people may not have an X or a Y chromosome. Okay. So you might want to do yourself a favor and look up something that is called DSD or intersex individuals. Okay. Those individuals do not necessarily have any of those things. It's called, like, you can have Klinefelter syndrome or Turner syndrome or all of these different variations. You could have an X chromosome and not an X or a Y. Right. Seahorses are exactly the same. Exactly, Joey. Right. So listen, folks, those of you that have an issue with this, I I think one of the things that you might want to ask yourself is, why do you care? Why do you care? Why do you care? I want you to tell me the number of LGBTQ plus individuals that commit sexual assault every year, because that tends to be cis heterosexual men. I want you to tell me the number of LGBTQIA individuals that commit the majority of violent crimes, or a significant amount of violent crime. You can't, because those are normally cis heterosexual males. And if we're being specific, it's normally cis heterosexual white males, but we just can go to cis heterosexual males. What does it have to do with you? The answer is nothing. The answer is it has nothing. And what we know, so I'm going to give you another piece of this, right? So I want you to name for me the last time LGBTQIA people knocked on your front door and tried to convert you into their lifestyle. Because it's not a lifestyle, it's just a life. But how many times has someone knocked on your door and asked you to join them? Never. How many times do Christians knock on your door? Name for me the number of LGBTQIA individuals that that are committing crimes. You want to talk about sports? Let's talk about sports, D. Come on. I didn't know we were going there today, but we go wherever the subject takes us. So this is where we're going to go. So Daydreamer, why don't you come to the panel and let's talk about sports? We can talk about sports all day long. So I'm going to share with you a couple of different things. How many of you are familiar with Casa Mayor? And then let's talk about Leah Thomas. Um, okay, so all right, so Casa Mayor is a South African distance runner. Okay, so Casa Mayor, all of her anatomy, all of her um, external, all of her parts are the parts of a female. Okay, all of her parts. Okay, so I'm going to share it with you. All of her parts are female, but naturally, guess what she has? Naturally, she has um, a testosterone level that is significantly higher than women. No, she doesn't have male parts. We don't know what she has inside, but the point is that she is a woman. She competes in women's sports, and she has a naturally high testosterone level. Okay, just naturally. That's just who she is. And it was the T levels, exactly. So let me share with you all a couple of things. So give me a second, because like I said, I didn't pull this up because I didn't think we were going here today. Her name is Casa Mayor. Hold on one second. Um, um, that's what I wanted. Okay, can you guys give me 1 second? Hold on 1 second. Bella, because you already didn't go to school. Get up. Okay, I'm back. All right, so listen. So when we talk about testosterone levels, okay, so women, the general range of testosterone levels in a woman is 10 to 70 ng slash DL. Like that's the units that they measure. For men, it's generally 264 to 1007. For athletes, it's even like it's different than that because they're in such shape that it changes what levels they are at. But listen, so Casa Mayor is a runner. Okay, so friend, I'll get to you in just a minute. Right now, I'm going to talk about this. Okay, so try to stay focused on what I'm talking about now, and then you and I can have a discussion when I'm done. Okay, so Casa Mayor has naturally high testosterone levels. Okay, naturally, they run high. And so, in order to have a level playing field, the folks in the Olympics wanted her to take a hold on a second. Yeah, what am I saying? Am I saying Casamayor? Thank you. It's Castor Semenya. Thank you. Good God. Casamayor is the boxer, right? I used to be a boxer. I used to be into boxing. So yeah, Castor Semenya. Thank you. Whoever put that in the chat. I appreciated you. So they wanted her to suppress the testosterone levels that she naturally made, and she refused to do so. She refused to do so because she said, this is how I'm naturally made. And I don't feel like I should change who I am biologically in order to compete. So she was not allowed to compete. Okay. So no, she's not. She's not, Nance. And here's the thing: there's a lot of different variations. That it's not about people having both. She does not have her external genitalia is female. Nope, she's not an H person, guys. Her external genitalia is an H person. She does not have a member down there. Okay, so she just simply her body generated a higher level of testosterone. They wanted her to take a suppressant. She said no, so she was not allowed to compete. Now, on the flip side of that, Leah Thomas, who competed, right, that's why I didn't say the word because they were using the H word, and that's why I said no. Yeah, so the H word they don't use anymore. But because of the rules. So listen, you guys, so when they talk about trans people participating in sports, there's a criteria that has to be met. Okay. So for example, if you're going to compete in the NCAA, well, they just revoked it now, but if you were going to compete in the NCAA, you had to have been on your medication for at least a year. I believe it was a year, and your T levels had to be within the normal woman's range. Leah Thomas took her medicine and her suppressants for 2 years before she swam. And as a matter of fact, Leah Thomas, she won the one race, but she also came in 5th. She's also came in 3rd. She's also like it's not a thing. She's not winning every race she's in. She's performing like a natural athlete would. Hey, hold on 1 second. Did I say normal woman? That's what they say, the normal range for biological women. They say the normal range. So hold on. Hey. Okay. So there's a most common range, normal, average, common range, average range, right? So Yeah, because common's not so normal's not a great word to use. It's common. Um, so follow me, guys. Here's the thing. There have always been people that have advantages in sports. I'm going to give you an example. Michael Phelps was born to be in the fucking water. Michael Phelps was born to be in the water. His arms are much longer than other athletes. The way his back is designed, like he has a physical advantage against all the other swimmers. And it's evident. It's why he wins all the time. Okay? After after someone transitions and they go through their TRT and they go through their suppression, they do not have the same because and so let me just break this down. So you have to have the testosterone. You have to have the ability to convert the extra oxygen into your muscles to have that physical advantage. And trans athletes simply don't have that. They simply don't have it. And again, you have to ask yourself, why do you care? Why do you care? These individuals make up less than 1% of the population, and they do less harm than the vast majority of the population. Why do you care? Why do you care? I really want to know, why do you care? Y'all crack me up talking about gender affirming care while some of y'all out here shaving your damn mustache every fucking week. Do you understand that if you were to take medication to get rid of your mustache, that's gender affirming care? I'm just telling the truth. That is gender affirming care. Some of you dudes out here getting your little pump, right? Because you think it don't work no more. It's like bloop, 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 right? And y'all get that little, that's gender affirming care. You dudes getting your little Rogaine and the president getting his little hair plugs, that's gender affirming care. I'm just saying. You all don't mind gender affirming care when you want your girl to get her boobs enlarged, do you? You don't mind that gender affirming care. Listen, you don't mind her going to the doctor and getting that little, what's it called when they plump the booty up? What's it called, y'all? Them BBLs? BBLs, gender affirming care. Yeah, them. Y'all don't mind that, do you? Y'all don't mind mommy makeovers? Y'all don't mind that, do you? Y'all are down for that damn gender affirming care, aren't you? You sure are, aren't you? You don't mind. Gender affirming care is also when you've had to have a mastectomy because you've had breast cancer or you've had uterine cancer and now you have to take hormone replacements. You've had a hysterectomy. Right, Conchita, your girlfriend has PCOS. That's gender affirming care. So I'm just being real clear, folks. The existence of trans individuals is not impacting your life at all. It's a talking point for people who believe that everything should fit into their life. And for black folk, I'm gonna talk specifically to black and brown people. Okay. When you say things like, oh, well, the Bible says male and female, and when you say it's not natural, I want to remind you that white people use that same Bible to say black and brown people weren't natural, that black and brown people were subhuman, that black and brown people weren't equal. I'm just being 100%. Because that's what the president of the United States put up last night. So this is the deal, right? So, and I'm going to say this too for black and brown people. I want y'all to just check out the hypocrisy. The world sits around and we look at Israel and say, how do people who were victims of a G-side commit G-side? And I look at black and brown people and I think, how can people who experienced massive discrimination, who were told they weren't human beings, they were subhumans, they were animals, right? How can they say the same thing about the LGBTQIA individuals? It's taken the whole hurt people thing to a whole nother level, folks. Don't become the oppressor. Don't do it. Yeah, I will tell you that, thanks, Scotty. Native Americans have a term for trans individuals and they call them two spirit. That's what they call them. Dollhouse, you're okay. Well, come talk to me about it. Here, friend, you can come too because I told you you could.
I couldn't agree with you more. As first of all, hello, good evening, afternoon, or what time is it where you are? I don't know that. Let me put it this way: I'm from Germany, so I just use my time zone. You're absolutely right. My opinion is God may have created us as male and female, but the replication process is far from perfect. So yes, there are people with male genitalia but female chromosomes, female chromosomes but also male chromosomes but female genitalia. It's called androgen insensitivity. And again, there are so many. If you ask about biological gender, what kind of biological do you mean? Do you mean chromosomes? Do you mean the appearance? Do you mean the sexual reproduction parts? So again, this is something I totally agree. There are so many possibilities, and we shouldn't just say, oh, it's either male or female, you must choose. Next thing, yes, LGBTQIA also exists. I'm completely fine with that. Some people love women, some people love men. Be it, I don't care. So really, it's up to them. Why should I care about what part of your anatomy you want to rub against the anatomy of another person? It's not my deal. It's not my problem. So please do as you may. What I just find a little bit annoying is that this LGBTQI, I just call it A to Z now, because whenever I look it up, there's some new identification, some new drawers. You put the people in, and basically, this is just really, it's hard to follow up on all these differences like intersex, asexual, neutral, non-gender, and so on and so on. They all think to be something different, but yeah, for me, it's just you either love women, you love men, you feel attracted, or you don't feel attracted. So why should we care about that? But the thing where I really do have problems is about the what you talked about, women in sports. It's not just about the testosterone levels. It's also about, well, basically, if people go to puberty, they develop differently. And you can't undo those developments after a certain time. When puberty is finished, basically your bone density, your muscle structure, and so on, it all cannot be undone by just having a sex reassignment or doing some hormones or whatever. And that's the problem where I think it's difficult for, especially for male to female transsexuals, to compete in women's sports. So you may disagree with me upon that, but that's my point.
Well, so here's the thing that I would say. There have always been women in sports that had more bone density than others. Like we used to call them tomboys back in my day, right? Back in my day, we would refer to folks as tomboys. There were always people that were bigger than other kids, or they looked older than other kids, or they whatever. There have always been differences in people that compete. So saying, oh, well, they have different bone density doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That exists with people who were all born the same. So it doesn't, it literally is not a sticking point, and it certainly isn't a consistent physical advantage. Like literally, like I said, when Leah Thomas was competing, she finished first in one race, but she also finished third and fifth or and eighth or something in her other races. So it's just ridiculous to say, oh, well, they have an advantage. Advantages exist all over the place. I mean, come on. Can we all look at Shaquille O'Neal and say Shaq's ass had an advantage in some areas when it comes to basketball? Of course he did. Of course he did. But nobody is telling Shaq, whatever. Yeah, I already talked about Michael Phelps. Right? We see differences in people and in their skills and their abilities and their biological makeup everywhere. The only reason people care is because this is something different. This is something different.
I can only partially agree with you with that one. Yes, of course, there are differences. Like I'm like 5'10" tall. I will never be able to be a profi basketball player. So yeah, of course, that's something but that's in the normal span for what you call male or normally male sportsmen. But still, as long as there's no clear evidence that you lose the advantages that you gained as a male person during puberty with the treatment, I'm still very adamant to this idea of trans men in women's sports.
Yeah, but so what's crazy is, do you know who has the most opinion about this? Men. That's the thing that really gets me. And I can tell you who really doesn't care, and that's kids. Hey, get her. Okay, get her. And so it's really wild to me that, and here's my thing: if men truly want to do something that is beneficial for women, why don't men go tell other men not to sexually assault women? Right? If men spend as much time worrying about the harm that other men do to women, we'd be a much better world. We don't need men to fight for who can compete in our sports. We would rather you teach men not to physically assault us, not to murder us, not to grape us, not to all of the things. Right? Yeah. Tell her now or she doesn't have a phone.
Absolutely right.
Tell her now or she will not have a phone.
Problem. And as you just said, the amount or the number of transsexuals doing an SA is extremely low compared to, let's put it the bad way, where do most SA happen? In the family. It's the dad, it's the uncle, and that really ticks me off too.
Yeah. And so
I gotta
ahead.
go. Thanks for having me.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
for letting me speak up.
Sure, absolutely.
And hope to see you again.
Okay, you're welcome
Thank you,
anytime.
fellow.
Appreciate it. So listen, folks, it is an issue that isn't an issue. Okay? It's an issue that isn't an issue. It's a, hey, okay, that's enough. And it's really important for people to understand that. I'm just going to be really clear, folks. This is never going to be a space where I allow people to be homophobic or transphobic. Ever. This is never going to be a space where I allow that to happen. It's just not going to be. I don't care if you're black or brown. I don't care. I don't care. It's never going to be that. And I'm just going to tell y'all, like, seriously speaking, I had questions about when this whole thing became a thing, right? About girls' sports and da-da-da-da-da and whatever, right? Do you want to know the reason I know is because I literally went to research. I did hold on. I just want to see if I can find it real quick. Let me see if I can show you. And for Brett asking me if I'm trans, my question to you would be, why do you care? It's such a weird thing to ask. Are you threatened by my masculine energy, Brett? Are you that sensitive? Are you that delicate, Brett? It seems like it. I'm just saying. So I'm going to show you all something. Sometimes I crack myself up because I'm going to show you all when this happened. And hold on. I'm going to share my post with you. So Brett, I mean, I don't know. When people come on here and you automatically start asking about body parts and things, I just automatically think you're on a list and you can't live near schools and parks and things. Like, that's what I automatically think, because regular people don't ask about other people's anatomy. Like, it's just weird. And so when people ask about that, I'm just like, you got to be on somebody's list. Like, it's one of the lists where you can't live near schools and parks, or you have to turn out your light on Halloween, or it's one of those other lists, like, where you can't vote anymore. Like, I just feel like you're on one of those. Right. That's what I think. Like, it's just weird. Either that or you're mad at women because you're a 40-year-old virgin. Like, it's one of those. It's just weird. So I'm going to show something to you all. This is a post. Remember, I told y'all I go looking for things. So this was May of 2022. That looks blurry. Let me just. Okay, so see this? I went looking, and you can now see that this is a clip of medical classifications that I attached. You can see that? And so this is 5 facts to provide clarity around sex and gender and the inaccurate thought that everyone is either male or female. 1, sex is determined based on anatomical and biological characteristics. 2, gender is typically assigned at birth based on those anatomical and biological characteristics. A person's gender identity may not align with what was assigned at birth and may be expressed differently. 3, while the majority of individuals are categorized, categorized as male or female based on their biological anatomical makeup, there are as many as 134 million people in the world whose sexual development differs in such a way that they do not fit into either of those classifications. These people are known as intersex or DSD, differing sexual development individuals. 4, there are many variations in sexual development, including Klinefelter syndrome and Turner syndrome. See the photo below. 5, neither sex or gender classification has anything to do with sexual orientation. And then I literally provided a place where people can go for more information because I think people should do that. Oh, look, that one went away. I should put a new one. Look, see, it's gone. Free and equal, the United Nations page is gone. But anyway, in 2022, it was there. So you don't have a choice about any of this, folks. You just have it. You got it? This is not a choice. And yeah, Lisa, I can. And so, and I've shared this story before, and I'm going to share it again real quickly. So I have a friend of mine that is a lesbian, and I was on a live, and I don't even remember how long ago it is now, but I would say at least 6 years, right? And I was on a Facebook Live, and I said something, and at the time, I thought I was using the appropriate language, and I said something about their lifestyle, right? And when I was done, my friend hit me up and she said, "Hey, I know you don't mean any harm, but I just want to share something with you." Thanks, Dre. She said, "Listen, you said lifestyle." She said, "And I want you to know this isn't a lifestyle. It's just my life." She said, "A lifestyle is if you're a gym rat. A lifestyle is if you like to go hiking or camping. A lifestyle is if you love to bake. A lifestyle, right, is if you paint." She said, "This is not my lifestyle. This is my life." And she only had to tell me that once. She only had to tell me that once. And if you care about and if you love the people in your life, and if you respect people as human beings and their own autonomy and their own self-determination, you don't tell people who they are or who they should be. I don't know what it is that makes people think that you know people better than they know themselves. If you all spent more time figuring out who the fuck you are, you wouldn't be worried about who everybody else is. Just saying. And by the way, people that are happy with themselves don't go looking for what's wrong with other people. People that are happy with themselves, that love who they are as a person, they do not go looking to point out what's wrong with other people. It's not something that happens. And the last thing that I'm going to say on this subject is I do not care what the God that you worship says or that you think they said. I do not care. Because the world does not revolve around your belief or your God. People have different beliefs. And as long as their beliefs are not infringing upon your rights, you could shut the fuck up. As long as their beliefs are not infringing upon the rights of others, you should shut the fuck up. Okay? And I'm saying that with all the love of Jesus. Okay? Okay. Just saying. Yes, Titan. What are you doing, son? And you know what? So listen, and do you all want to know something? I don't know the ins and outs of everything in that community. And I don't feel the need to go figure it out. I don't even feel the need to try to understand. I don't need to understand. Here's all I know. My door swings one way. I've always felt like I'm a girl. Like I've never felt like a dude. Now, don't get me wrong. I know I have a healthy amount of masculine energy, right? Right. And typically, um, you know, it has served me well. All right. Um, but like real talk, because I've had people ask me before, so are you gay? Nope, I'm not. Do you want to know how I know I'm not? You want to know how I know for sure I'm not? Because when I see women, I can be like, oh my gosh, she is so beautiful. But I have never looked at a woman and been like, ooh, she could get it. Nope, I'm not gay. I've never looked at a woman and been like, please and thank you. Nope, never had that happen. That's how you know. Okay? Like, it's that. Just saying, folks. And the same way that like, when did you have your first crush on the opposite sex? That's probably when they had their first crush on the same sex, right? Whenever you had your first crush, mine was in the first grade. No, I'm lying. Mine was in the second grade. My boyfriend in kindergarten was Benjamin Lauterbach. Hey Benji, if you're watching. Um, and then in first grade, it was Rusty Morrell. What up, Russ? Um, just saying. And yes, uh, I done told y'all we got like I come from places like 90% white. I told y'all that already. I don't know why y'all surprised, but yeah, yeah. So that's how you know, people. That's how you know. Yeah, Rusty Morrell. He's still cute today. He's good people too. He's good people. Yeah. Well, his name is Russell. We called him Rusty. You know, just saying. All right. Whew, we just went all the way down a rabbit hole. And to be frank, I thought that's where Dana was going to go, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure she was going to go straight for the transphobia. And if you noticed, it took her a minute to get there, but she got there. She got there. And now we all know, right? Now we all know. Um, yeah. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. When she raised her voice at me, she said, no, you listen. I said, hold up. What the fuck you think this is? We're not at your house. She's been up on my panel before. I don't remember her ever. I don't remember her. I told y'all I don't be thinking about these people when I leave. Well, I don't know that she's a lawyer. When she says she's a legal negotiator, I don't even know what that means. Like, what does that mean? Legal negotiator. Does she mean she's a mediator? Yeah. Oh, there are Danikins that follow her? Huh. Well, right. She might be a lawyer secretary or something, maybe a paralegal. It don't matter. It don't matter. She can still be wrong as fuck. I don't care. Lawyers can be wrong too. Look at Pam Bondi. Look at Todd Blanche. Woo! So, you know, I'm just saying. Yes, look at Michael Cohen. 100%. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know her. I just know the last of it said Dana, but I don't know anything else. I don't know anything else. All right, people. Um, do we want to address this anymore? Or let me yeah, and then somebody was like, Oh, the host is yelling. I'm yelling because she raised her fucking voice at me. Are y'all kidding me? Yeah, I listen. She elevated her voice, and I elevated right the fuck back. Um. So. Oh, okay. So I'm just checking. Oh Lord. Okay, so I am looking to see what this madness is. Okay, so I'm just gonna tell y'all right now there are problems with all of this. So reports are saying that the U.S. is weighing its options regarding the Strait of Hormuz, right? And um, they're talking again openly now about putting soldiers on Karg Island. And then they said, but that's always been seen as a huge risk, as the Iranians would be able to attack them ferociously. Yeah, that's what the fuck happened last time. That's what happened last time. Y'all already know that. Oh. So they say putting a blockade in place is perhaps the best way to try and halt Iran's oil exports and access to world markets. But there are risks involved, of course. If Iran wants to breach the ceasefire, it could use short range missiles and its fleets of drones to target U.S. ships, and moving them to the Strait of Hormuz makes them a much easier target. The disadvantage to the US is that they don't seem to be getting other countries to help, and they're not gonna. They're not gonna. I'm telling y'all right now, this is not a smart thing to do. So listen, Iran has said the United States of America putting its military in the blockade is in international waters would be illegal, and it would amount to piracy. And then they have warned no Gulf ports would be safe if its own were threatened. I'm going to say this again. They have said no Gulf ports would be safe if its own were threatened. And by now, people should know that when Iran says something, they mean that shit. And they are going to do what they said. I don't know why everybody doesn't get this by now, but we are far enough along in this situation that people should 100% know that they are going to do exactly what they said. They do not like tacos like our president does. They don't like tacos. They don't, no, They eat really healthy over there. They're not into tacos, people. They're not. And it's important that people really understand this. Oh, so look, I really think his ass is about to back out, y'all. Okay, so hold on for a second. I am cracking up. Okay, so listen. So the first thing he posted 3 hours ago said, Iran's navy is laying at the bottom of the sea, completely obliterated, 158 ships. What we have not hit are their small number of what they call, quote unquote, fast attack ships, because we did not consider them much of a threat. Warning, if any of these ships come anywhere close to our blockade, they will be immediately eliminated using the same system of kill that we used against the he's talking about the Venezuelan boats at sea. It is quick and brutal. P.S. 98% of party favors coming into the U.S. by ocean or sea have stopped. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So that was 3 hours ago. Now what he says 1 hour ago is this. He's mad. Y'all listen. He's mad because the judge dismissed their case against the Wall Street Journal. Okay. So here's the last thing. Yeah. Because they don't like the word schmugs, right? right? So like sugar booger and all that stuff, party favors, those. So listen to what he's saying right now. 34 ships went through the Strait of Hormuz yesterday, which is by far the highest number since this foolish closure began. Yeah, but they wasn't ours. They wasn't ours, and they wasn't Israel. Iran already said the strait is only closed to you. You're busy telling people 34 ships went through the strait. We know they just wasn't ours. They just weren't ours. So this whole well, now ships are going through the strait is you trying to save face, because we already know that they're just not yours. They sure will, Joey. 100%. They sure will. I don't know. I just want to be like, Ivanka, come get your daddy. Because, girl, you done left us all on our own this time, and I am not here for it. I am not here for it. Oh, my Lord. So now do you know what he's saying? Oh, my Lord. You know they did not say this. Hold on. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. So Donald Trump is now claiming that Iran called this morning and said that they'd like to work a deal. Y'all know Iran has not said, "Oh, Mr. President, we would like to make a deal." Listen, right now there's another Lego video coming out. Right now there's another Lego video coming out. They are literally going to be like, "Are you negotiating with yourself again?" Because oh my God. So here's what it says. Donald Trump claims Iran wants to, quote unquote, work a deal, and claims oil takers are operating in Strait of Hormuz. He said that Iran wants to make a deal, and that he will not come to any agreement that allows Tehran to have a nuclear weapon, which is not an issue. Trump said that talks had hit a roadblock related to nuclear issues, and that a, quote unquote, blockade of ships transiting the Strait of Hormuz had begun. He said that Iran had, quote unquote, called this morning, and that they, quote unquote, they'd like to work a deal. Now, you all do understand that Iran would not even call him to negotiate a ceasefire, right? Y'all do understand that, right? They said, Pakistan, go talk to his ass, because we're not talking. And we don't even care if he talks back. We're not interested. And by the way, we ain't agreeing to shit until Lebanon is safe. I need for y'all to understand that this is a real thing. I don't know why. Y'all do know nobody said this. This is not what I wish I was not on my phone talking to y'all, because I would, right, sir, provide the recorded phone call, because we don't believe you. Okay, so let me see. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it over here. Let me see. I'm going to try. I'm going to try. I'm going to try. I'm going to try. Give me a moment. I'm going to try. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm laughing, but you know how you laugh because of the just outlandishness of it. You know how you have to laugh because you're just like, what? So just today all of a sudden they wanted to strike a deal. Today, not on Friday when they was talking to JD. So not Friday when they flew all the way to Islamabad, but today they do. Like, sir, this is not The Apprentice. This is not The Apprentice. You cannot produce your way out of this. Like, what? Oh my gosh. I'm just saying, y'all. I'm just like, what in the world? Okay, so let me see if I can pull this up in a way because these should talk to each other. These should talk to each other. So let me see if I can. I'm going to try to see if I can get to this because you love when I get this tickled. It does happen. It does. It does happen. Because it's just ridiculous, right, y'all? Do we not agree that this is ridiculous? Um, okay, so this is it. Ha ha ha. Oh, I love this for me. Ha! I got it. Y'all, I think we're going to be able to make this happen. So let me tell you, there are some people that I follow on X. Okay. Thank you, Natalie. um, yes. So give me next. What? Oh, wait. Did I get rid of it? Y'all, this is a shame. I done got rid of X so many damn times. um, damn. This is just sad. Um, no. So this is it. What do you mean? Okay, let me do it this way. Don't tell me. Thank you very much. Oh, okay. I got it. Okay, so listen. So there are a couple of people that I follow on X specifically because of Iran. Okay. Um, yeah, girl, me arguing with the computer because I was like, no, I didn't. Well, the first time I voluntarily left, but then somebody asked me to get back on, and I keep forgetting that I did get back on. Um, but we're gonna see. Okay, so hold on. Okay, so people that I follow. Damn, when was this? Shit, this was today. Is this real? Hold on, y'all. If this is real, this is serious. Hold on. I need to know if this is real. I can't tell y'all this unless it's real. Because holy shit. So give me 1 second. Hold on, y'all. I need to, okay, I need to see his account. I need to see his account to see if he said this. Holy fuck. Um, so I need to know if Kameni really said this. I need to stop, Titan. No. Okay. Okay, folks. Hold on one moment. Because this is important. Stop. No, I'm not doing that. So did we really ban a YouTube account that gave the Lego videos? Apparently we did. Okay, they're doing a whole lot here. I'm looking specifically to see if Kamani said this thing that that they are saying that he said, because if it is true, then it is significant, y'all. So I don't like to tell people fake stuff, right? I am crying at Iran reposting the Pope. Not Iran is reposting the Pope. Oh, my sweet baby Jesus. Oh, my word. Okay, so let me see. I need to see, because if so, I believe they would have done this. So I'm just going to tell you all, I follow the foreign ministry for the Islamic Republic of Iran. I follow the Iranian embassy in South Africa because they tend to be spot on. And I also follow the speaker of the Islamic Republic as well. And so I follow some of them specifically because I want to see what they're saying. Like literally the speaker of the IRGC literally put up a snapshot that says gas station near the White House, y'all. This was last night. Let me see if I can show you. And he put this up yesterday. And it says, do y'all see that? That's the gas station near White House clip. And it says, enjoy the current pump figures with the so-called quote unquote blockade. Soon you'll be nostalgic for $4 to $5 in gas. That's what they said 20 hours ago to the president of the United States. Yes, that's what they said 20 hours ago. I'm just saying, these are not the people that you pick fucking fights with. But I'm looking specifically to see if he said this exact thing. Because, okay, I'm going to say it like this. Okay, listen, I'm going to say it like this because I do not know if it's true or not. How about that? Okay. Give me 1 second. I just want to try one more time to verify it. I just want to try one more time because y'all know I like to be responsible. Okay, so this is being reported across. Well, shit. I think I'm gonna end up telling y'all because. Yeah, babe. Okay, I got you. 1 second. Um, all right, so I'm just going to tell you what is being said. Okay, hold on 1 second. I know y'all are like, damn it, Dani, come on. I know. Just be patient. All right, so this is not a verified statement to the White House. This is not I'm going to repeat that. This is not a verified statement to the White House. However, this is what's being reported out is that Kamani is saying, quote, "You begged for a ceasefire to reload. We allowed it to expose your weakness. Whatever you bring in 2 weeks, we'll wipe out in 2 days. Our missile and drone power won't run out for 10 years. For every loss, we replace it 1,000 times over. We won't wait. Tel Aviv will be hit with full force. No energy center will remain operational. Final warning, no more truces, no negotiations. It's victory or martyrdom." I don't know that this is, listen. This has not been confirmed. This has not been confirmed. I'm going to repeat it. This has not been confirmed. I just need y'all to take a deep breath. Pakistan is appealing to the UN and the world, saying action must be taken against Israel and the war must be stopped. Let me look really quickly. I want to see if any of the other folks okay, let me try these guys. Okay, he hasn't posted anything today. Not since the 10th. I know, Tracy. I know. That's why I keep saying I can't, it's not verified, right? I keep saying that. It is not verified. I just, and what are they saying? Let me see if this is in English. I bet it's not, though.
Not pass. They are incapable of sound sedition. Those servants of Israel will not succeed in implementing this dream and their aspirations. They also want to divide between the Amal movements and Hezbollah, and even the supporters of the resistance. So their people, the supporters of the resistance, they don't understand that we are all the sons of Sayyid Musa Sadr, who is the founding father of resistance, who called on the people to resist against Israeli occupation, whether with their nails, with tooth and nail. How can you sow sedition between these people? The Christians as well, with all their sects, the Muslims with all their sects as well, whether it is the Sunnis and the Shiites or the Druze or the Alawites, all the Muslims and all the Christians in Lebanon are brothers. They are our brothers in nation and religion and the Abrahamic religions. We are telling everyone, do not think that you can at any time divide us. What unites us is greater than what they are trying to say, divide us. And here, I would like to speak directly to the Persian Gulf Arab countries, Bahrain, Kuwait, Emirates. We do not have issues with anyone. And we have no cells working in your countries. We have no organization of Hezbollah in any country in the world. What is your interest in being against the millions of people in the region and fabricate these issues and come accuse us of issues and even take people because arrest people because they have a picture, or maybe they funded the giving donations to people? And we have said this 3 times. That we have nothing to do with what you are fighting in Kuwait, and there's absolutely no cell for Hezbollah in Kuwait, and all these accusations are only fabrications, but the Kuwaitis repeat it. They continue to repeat it. And here in Lebanon, they come and they denounce, how could Hezbollah have a cell and a group and an organization in Kuwait? We told them this does not exist. Where is your evidence? We do not have anyone, not a political party or a group, no one, not even in the world. And this is a false fabrication. This has its own reasons. We believe that is untrue. We need to cooperate together. We Arab countries need to be with us. We know that there is an Israeli project that will target everyone. Why would people want to facilitate things for the Israelis concerning Syria? From day one, if you remember the speech that I gave.
So this is from...
I said then that the Syrian people are free in their decisions. This is a new stage.
So this is from Lebanon. The IRGC has said, any vessel that approaches will be considered in violation of the ceasefire.
And create lies in order to try to create a rift. In order for the Syrian government or anyone from Syria tries to intervene and interfere in Lebanon at a time when Israel is in a state of aggression is launching an aggression against Lebanon, this is a huge crime. I can believe that the Syrian leadership and the people of Syria know and understand that there is the United States and Israel only want to drag them.
So everybody is saying we're staying out of it. Britain has said we're staying out of it.
But we tell them that we have nothing to do. And of course, this is the Israeli that is only trying to cover up for their crimes of the Israelis.
France has said the same thing. Hold on, Nick Bella. It's one of the Iranian accounts that I follow.
You are people of dignity, people of resistance, people of sacrifice. Your patience has stunned the world.
Okay.
Your support is a dignity for all the free people in the world, is an honor, and your
Yeah, Tracy, and I know that. That's why they're trying to do as much as they can do while they have this president that will fund whatever they want to do. So give me a second. You guys, I'm going to put my backtrack back up so that TikTok is happy.
You are from us and we are from you. You have the dear people, the dear displaced people.
So one of the things that they are saying, okay, so they are saying, yeah, the UK is staying out of it. France is staying out of it. All of them have said, no, thank you. We're not getting in it at all. And so let me just tell you something, you all. So from their perspective, just to be, what? This shit is just moving really, really closely right now. So let me just point out a couple of things, okay? So this actually works to the middle powers advantage. Okay, I want you all to be clear. Remember how we have been talking about France and Canada and the EU and all of them, and they have said, India included, they have said that we need to be coming together, that they need to be, right? That the middle powers do, because together they make up more than, I think it's like half the GDP and all of those different things. You all staying out of this is to their advantage, because we are exposed. We have already blown through 25% of our tomahawks, right? If we get into this thing and we keep going through our stockpiles like we don't have any whatever, right? This is absolutely wild. Stop, Titan, right? Because it sets them up in a ridiculously strong position, and all of them have new trading agreements with each other. All of them do. And y'all, 13 to 17 of our bases in the Gulf region have been absolutely devastated by Iran in the last 5 weeks. Like, real talk. Give me 1 second. Okay. Give me one moment, y'all. I'm doing my best to check everything all at the same time. Fuck my life. So this is why he's on here. So the reason why he's on here is Hezbollah is saying that they reject negotiations with Israel because diplomacy with Israel has been futile. I want to say that again. Hezbollah has said, we're not going to talk to Israel because diplomacy with them is futile. And it is. But so this is my thing, is I don't feel like they should have to negotiate with Israel. I feel like the United States of America should require Israel to sit the fuck down and leave Lebanon alone. Give me a second, y'all. Oh, Jesus. Like, this is our responsibility. So Israel said that that they would begin official peace talks with Lebanon next week after Israel's ambassador to the United States held a first ever phone call with his Lebanese counterpart over the weekend. And he says, quote, no one has a right to take Lebanon towards that approach without internal consensus among its components, which has not happened. This is the Hezbollah chief. Hezbollah's leader addressed Lebanon's president. He said, quote, let's confront the aggression together, and then we can find an understanding over the future and over everything. And this is what they're talking about. They're trying to drive a wedge between the I know. I got you. Yeah. Okay. So listen, I'm just going to tell you this is an official statement from Sadar Mohibi, who's the spokesman for the IRGC. He said in comments that were carried by Iranian media that, quote, if the war continues, we will unveil capacities that the enemy has no idea about. We will unveil warfare methods that the enemy will have little ability to counter, end quote. No, I haven't. Did y'all hear that? I just want to tell you this is an official quote. This is an official quote. Quote, if the war continues, we will unveil capacities that the enemy has no idea about. We will unveil warfare methods that the enemy will have little ability to counter. Yeah. I don't believe that they bluff. Let me just be clear, Titus. I don't believe that they bluff. Yeah, that's Iran saying that. Um, one second. Hold on. I'm trying to find this other thing. Okay, so this is a different thing. Hold on. You good, sweet pea? Yeah. Um, there is they are interviewing Iranians, and so this is an Iranian man holding his toddler, and he is saying, quote, we fear no threats, we stand for our land, our ideals, and our country until the last drop of blood, end quote. Yeah. Early, Linda. um Yeah, no, I know. But I think that people really need to get where we are right now. Yeah, they don't bluff. They don't eat tacos. They don't engage in those types of things. They just don't. Um Hazel-eyed girl, where is Congress? Fuck if I know. Yeah, they did. And uh yeah, so you know that Israel is upset because um the foreign minister in Italy made comments about Israel's attacks on Beirut. Hello, Asim, and he called the attacks, which killed more than 300 people, including women and children, quote unquote, unacceptable during a visit to Beirut. And so Israel has summoned their Italian ambassador, and they want him to protest what they said. Um, so this is the difference, folks, when you are used to being a president or a leader and when you just play one on TV, right? Like this is the difference. But between like being a real leader, being real in these negotiations, and then being someone that thinks all of this is a performance, like fucking wag the dog. This is really not great. The UN spokesperson says, quote unquote, there is no military solution to the conflict with Iran. Yes, baby. Okay, I got you. I know, baby. Give me 1 sec. I got you. So the spokesman for the UN Secretary General says that weeks of quote unquote destruction and distress have made it clear that, quote, there is no military solution to the current conflict in the Middle East. The UN official called for the preservation of the ceasefire and for negotiations to continue, quote unquote, constructively until an agreement is reached. Disruptions in the maritime trade through the Strait of Hormuz have already had direct effect well beyond the immediate region, with increased global economic fragility and insecurity in many sectors. The disruption of fertilizer and its inputs further exacerbate food insecurity for millions of vulnerable people around the world, adding to the rising cost of living due to impacts from fuel, transportation, and supply chain disruptions. He added that some 20,000 ships that were caught up in this conflict are currently stranded and, quote, facing increasing hardships daily. So there are 20,000 ships that are stranded out there because they're not coming through the strait. This ain't good, y'all. It's just really not. It's important, folks. People need to be picking up their phone and calling their members of Congress. Like literally. The world is beyond mad at us. And Ireland is in, like, Ireland, people are protesting so much. The people that drive the big diesel vehicles, they have blocked off everything in Ireland. Yes, Denise. The blockade, you mean? But and so much so that, yeah, it's really bad. But what has not happened is that, right. Yeah, the farmers, that's what I'm talking about. So a bunch of them, they drove their tractors and they drove like all their big diesel trucks and things, and they blocked the streets in Ireland. Elizabeth, what do you mean by that? I would love to hear what you mean by that. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, you all, like, okay, so when we talk about what can we do, real talk, other than like try to influence your representatives in Congress, there's nothing else you can do about this. So the other thing that I focus on, as you all know, is having productive conversations within our communities, within our neighbors, providing accurate information, and all of those types of things, right? That's the biggest thing that you can do right now. Now, for you and your family, I would say, make sure you have a BJ's or a Costco or whatever. Make sure that you do farmers markets. Make sure that you, if you can, have your little garden at home, and, all of those types of things. Because other than that, it's really crazy. I don't know why Titan's acting crazy, Mila. Do you? Because he is.
Titan just jumped on a pillow right here. And it was
Yeah.
my face with the pillow.
I've refreshed and I cannot find any other wow. I'm just looking real quick because I do follow the foreign ministry of Iran on X. Hey, chill. Yeah, they're not saying anything else. They're not saying anything else.
Oh.
So I think this is going to be, hold on. Yeah. Let me see if they're going to say anything else right now. Yeah. So I will tell you that that their official press account on X does live stream their coverage. If you want to see that. Okay. So, well, Kat, here's the thing, right? That I would say about this is that when you say that a general strike is long overdue and that dollars is the only thing that reps understand, I don't know that. Yeah, I got you. I'm almost there. I don't really know, because here's the thing is I don't know, when we have allowed ourselves to create centie millionaires and centie billionaires and a trillionaire, right? I don't know how effective. I just don't know. And at the same time, I don't know that people can be in a position to do those types of things. Right? Most people are paycheck to paycheck. I don't know that people can do a general strike and not get evicted, or do a general strike and be able to eat, and all of those types of things, right? So, I mean, just keeping it real, that's why I say the most important and effective thing that we could be doing now are impactful conversations within our communities and within our neighbors, in order to mobilize a grassroots movement that is built on changing things. Like real talk. Okay? But that doesn't mean that you can't make your voice heard. That doesn't mean that you can't affect change. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means understanding. And that's probably one of my biggest frustrations with people that, Andrea, it just depends on the senators most of the time. I mean, not really, but yes, our votes will be complete sitting ducks if we block the strait. 100 fucking percent. 100%. We will be sitting ducks. Yeah, you can email local leaders, your state reps, Congress, all of your people. And believe it or not, you all, letters to the editor are really effective, even in your local communities. Right? Most small newspaper, most town newspapers, they have a hard time filling up their pages, and so letters to the editor are, it takes up space for them, and they love it. I think that he's probably trying to taco today. That's what that Truth Social post was. Because you cannot convince me in any way, shape, or form that Iran is called asking for a deal. I just don't believe that. No, you know what needs to happen, Ruck? Somebody needs to tell Ivanka, come get her damn daddy. She is the only person that he listens to.
No.
Somebody needs to tell her, come get her damn daddy. The boats are there, but they haven't approached the strait just yet. So, yeah, he listens to Ivanka. She's one of the few people that can get him to do what needs to be done. But that's one of the reasons why she didn't go back into the administration this time. She was there on January 6th. If you remember, Eric Hirschman went and got her. No, I mean Ivanka, his daughter. No, I meant who I said, Ivanka. He don't listen to Melania's ass. He listens to Ivanka. If you remember right, he listens to his daughter. And she's the only one. Yeah. And I mean, just real talk, folks, like that's it. She's the only one that was able to get the tweet out on January 6th telling everybody to go back home and be peaceful. She's the only one that was able to get him to do that. No, both of these are up on his True Social. Well, he had deleted this one now. Right, Eric Hirschman called her. Eric Hirschman called her and said, come get your damn daddy. Yeah. Yeah, that's what happened on January 6th. 100%. Okay, so let me plan to do this, you guys, because it's been a long day. We've been on here together, but let me do this. Oh yeah, the Pope responded. The Pope responded and said, ain't nobody scared of you. To paraphrase, the Pope said he is not scared of the Trump administration. Y'all forget the Pope is from Chi-Town. The Pope said, "Nuck if you buck, bro." Because the Lord is really on my side. The Pope said, "You don't know about this West Side?" No, I'm just kidding. Oh, love me. Okay, so listen, here's what I'm going to do. Okay. I'm going to get off of here now. I'm going to feed the kiddos, wait for Dominic to get here. When Dominic gets here, which is going to be in an hour, I'm going to go get my nails done, assuming that shit hasn't popped off by then. Okay. Once I get my nails done and I come back, then I will tend to the kiddos, feed them, get all that stuff. And if some shit pops off, then I will be back live tonight. Listen to this. If shit pops off, I will be back on tonight. If it doesn't pop off, I will see you all tomorrow. But it has to be a little bit later because I have to take Bella to the doctor. Yeah, Cam, I hope it's not super late either. But I don't control when the president of the United States wants to commit blasphemy and show the world his delusions. I don't determine that. He did that shit last night. Where can you get the Project for the People merch, Sandy? And let me grab the link. I'll put the link in my link tree. Thank you for reminding me. But if you're in the Discord, or you can reach out to Sandy or LaRonica, and they can help you do that. But I will grab the link and I will put it in the link tree as well. Which, by the way, some of the posts and the pictures and things was just amazing from Saturday, and I am excited for us to have another day of action. I really am. See, Sandy. So, Christiana, if you go to my link tree is in my profile, right? When you go to my link tree, all you have to do is at the very top, it looks like a little remote controller. Click that link or copy that link and put it into a clean browser. And then you'll go through, and all you have to do is follow the steps to get in. Okie doke? Yeah. Listen, they are horrid. Do y'all see all the space? Look. Do y'all see all the space? I've been busy working. I ain't had time to do these damn nails in forever. Forever, ever, and ever, ever. But anyway, love y'all, mean it. I will see you all later. And